Wow, Mario Kart World is coming out soon. Finally, a new Mario Kart game. I've been waiting so long. Hey, speaking of, I wonder, when did Mario Kart 8 come out? I mean, I know it's been a while, but it couldn't have been that long, right? Mario Kart 8 release date. No, no, it can't be. No, 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 that can't possibly be right. No! No! Where is the time gone? No! This can't be happening to me! Well, that intro was just all in good jest, but of course it is a little scary. I mean, it's only slightly exaggerated, but alright, so with Mario Kart World coming out, I thought it would be fun to give Mario Kart 8 Deluxe a proper send-off by ranking every single track in the game. So what, that's 96 tracks, I believe, if I did my math right. So yeah, I'm not gonna waste that much time dilly-dallying. I'll just say, if you like this video, you know, a lot of work has gone into it. I can even say this before I start editing, just putting all the music tracks in, and I'm going to try and include footage of me racing on this, but so most of the clips that you're going to see are probably on, are going to be on my channel already. So if you saw anything funny and you want to check it out, check out my Mario Kart clips playlist that I'll put in the description. But with that being said, let's get into it, and if you like it, feel free to like and subscribe. I already have another Mario Kart 8 World video idea to do, but I feel like I can't really talk about Mario Kart World's roster before the game comes out. But that is an idea I have. I'm a huge Mario Kart fan, so if you want to see more stuff like this, please feel free to like and subscribe. And alright, let's rank every single track from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. If you are new to my content and didn't watch my Mario Party Jamboree items tier list, something you'll realize quite fast is I tend to deviate a little bit from normal tiers. I don't really do S, A, F, B, C, D. I more so just do feel. So it's mostly, tracks I don't like, tracks that are mad good, and everything like that. But I'll put the final tier list up on the screen at the end of the video, of course. But let's get into the first tier, which is tracks that I audibly groan at whenever I see this selected. Something that I'm going to talk about a lot, I guess I should address this here, is I mostly play Mario Kart online these days. Like, when I want to play Mario Kart, I just go online, and that's just what I do. So a lot of the, my perspective from these tracks is like that. And so yeah, these are tracks that I go, why am I playing this right now, whenever people vote for it online for some reason that I don't think I will ever understand. Alright, last thing before we actually start ranking tracks now. First off, these tiers are lightly ordered, and what I mean by that is the individual placings within the tier doesn't really matter a ton. Like, I wouldn't read specific too much into this track was ranked, one above this track. But I did try to, place tracks I liked more at the top of the tier. And also, we should very quickly talk about the criteria, right? Like, what am I looking for in a good track? Well, the most important thing, I know this is going to sound really goofy, but I feel like I have to put this out now, is how fun the track is to race. And I mean, just like strictly turns. Like, how fun are the turns to actually, race on, right? Like, if you were to strip everything else away and you were just give me the turns, how fun would those turns be? That is obviously the most important part. And aesthetic and music does matter. I'm not going to sit here and say that it doesn't. But the most... but they're like secondary add-ons. So like aesthetic, theming, music, yeah, the perfect track really blends having a really good course with those things. But, you know, a track that has really good theming and aesthetics does not necessarily equate to fun turns, as you'll see later on. With that out of the way, let's get into the bottom of the barrel, in my opinion, of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So, the first track I'm going to talk about, the one that I've listed as the worst in the game, it's debatable with this tier, Dragon Driftway. I do not like this course at all. I mean, that should be obvious, the fact that it's this low. The turns, they are not fun. It's the same two turns, the same two windy, almost 180 turns. You go like this, and then you go like this, and then like that's the whole course. I just did the whole course for you right there. And those turns aren't even that fun. Like, they're fun to, like, mix in every once in a while in a course, but just doing a turn where you have to, like, for 3 seconds, just hold on the drift, you know, do this big swooping turn, and then, it's another big swooping turn. There's another big swooping turn after that. That's Dragon Driftway. It's really... This is not, I don't think this is a fun course at all. And talking about the music and the aesthetics, I mean, I like dragons. Dragons are cool. But the music does nothing for me, though. So it doesn't even, like, make me feel good while I'm doing the, you know, 15th looping turn in a row. This is just, for me, this is not a fun track at all. And it really is. It's a track that I've grown at whenever it's selected online. Alright, next up, Donut Plains. Is it Donut Plains 3? Yes, Donut Plains 3. I don't like the SNES tracks, just as a rule in general. I mean, I get that they're the first Mario Kart, and I actually have played Super Mario Kart once, and I just really did not like it at all. It's easily my least favorite Mario Kart, like, including Tour, even though I just played it for 2 seconds. And this track, there's just nothing really, I don't think there's anything really redeemable about it. I don't like, you know, I'm going to leave the aesthetic now. I don't like the aesthetic at all. It just feels damp and boring. And uninteresting. The music is the same. The turns is the same. There's just nothing really interesting at all. I think this track is just boring. Right? Like, it doesn't really annoy me the same way as Dragon Driftway, where you have the same just, you know, looping turns, but the turns just feel really basic. The track, it just feels really basic, and it's just not fun. Like, I would be fine if I did not ever race on Donut Plains again. I just don't really like this track. Next up is one that might be controversial. I mean, I already said Dragon Driftway is controversial. Mario Circuit. And I'm talking about the Mario Kart 8 Mario Circuit. This really has the same problem as Dragon Driftway. Mario Circuit is 2 turns. That's literally it. You have this, you know, very slow, like, left turn at the beginning, and then you have another slow left turn, and then it ends with, like, 2 slow right turns that both take way too long. This track, boring and uninteresting. You know, the music is fine. The music feels like Mario Kart 8, like, you know, like, this is supposed to be, like, this is the song you're supposed to think of when you think of Mario Kart 8. So I get what they were going for with that. The Peach's Castle getting rotated is fine. I mean, I'm not really a huge fan of anti-grav in general, just because it doesn't really do that much gameplay-wise. It's just a cool aesthetic thing. And after, you know, something that you'll notice about with these tracks is, you know, I'm going to talk about a lot more, is the aesthetics. When you play a track for so many times over, the aesthetics, you know, start to wear thin. So yeah, seeing Peach's Castle turn upside down The first time was cool. Seeing it on the 100th time is just like, you know, I've seen this a bunch already. It doesn't really do anything for me. So it all comes back to the turns, which are just boring and uninteresting. So I don't like this one at all. Lastly, for this tier of groan when I see it get selected, is one that I'm honestly surprised at how much it does get selected online. Mario Kart Stadium. Now, this isn't really inherently Mario Kart Stadium's fault. This is a problem I have with basically every Mario Kart game, which is that the intro tracks are just boring. It's honestly why, like, if you were to go to, like, compare all the tracks in every Mario Kart game, which I have played every Mario Kart game, by the way. I don't know if that makes me a freak or not. Mushroom Cup is almost always the worst cup, right? Like, and I mean, like, in terms of, like, average. Like, I know Mario Kart Wii had Toad Factory and Mushroom Gorge, but, like, it feels like there's usually, like, one redeemable track in Mushroom Cup, and that's, like, the last one. And then every other one is just, like, intro, easygoing tracks that are just not that interesting. And the biggest culprit is always the first track in Mushroom Cup. Because here's the thing with the first track in Mushroom Cup. That's supposed to be your intro to the game, right? You're supposed to boot it up, go right to Mushroom Cup, and this is going to be, you know, your first experience playing the game, is this first track. And so it's supposed to be a nice little, you know, welcome to the newest Mario Kart. And I'm not saying that doesn't have a purpose, by the way, because, that's nice. Like, that's a nice thing. The problem is, when you have a track whose sole purpose is to just introduce you to the new Mario Kart and get your feet wet, it really gets rid of replayability. Because, like, yeah, like, that intro moment is great and it's really cool, and I'm sure it'll be cool with World, with what is it, like, it's like Mario Circuit 2, or, you know, right? Like, there's some Mario track that's the first track in Mushroom Cup. And, like, that intro moment will be great, but then once you played the game a lot and you're going back to the intro track, that's when you realize the intro track is really not that interesting. Because you just played so many better tracks. It's like doing the same, like, basic first turn again is just always just so lame. And so, again, this isn't really a problem with Mario Kart Stadium so much as it is the first track in Mushroom Cup in every game. But this is, you know, the problem that Mario Kart Stadium got stuck in. And I guess Mario's getting stuck in again with this new one. But you know what? Good for him. It's time for Mario to take up the burden. Because this track got pushed off to Luigi. At N64, it was Luigi Circuit. GameCube, it was Luigi Circuit, and Wii, I think it was also Luigi Circuit. It was Luigi something. All three of those were Luigi something, even if they slightly changed up the name. So you know what? I guess it's good that Mario's taking some of the burden off of Luigi by doing intro courses now. That does it for the tracks I actively dislike. Who knew? I'm a big Mario Kart fan, so I at least tolerate most of the tracks. In this game, and that's really what the next tier is. So I labeled it as meh, but it could also just be described as tracks that exist. They're here. I don't really have negative opinions about, like, a bad taste about these tracks, but I don't really have positive ones here. When they get selected, they get selected, and that's just kind of it. It's just kind of on to the next one for me. First up is Piranha Plant Cove. Now, so tour tracks are probably going to be slightly more negative than maybe they should be in general, just because I haven't played them nearly as much. Like I said, I just hop online most of the time, right? So it's just mostly playing the tour tracks is just mostly about them popping up in the randomly selected, you know, feed or whatever. So maybe I have a slightly more negative reaction to them than I should. And in terms of, you know, does this affect the other tracks in the PCP? Not really. Like I said, I played every Mario Kart game, most of them to completion. So I don't really have to play them again to have an opinion for, like, most of the tracks that are here again. But yeah, so Piranha Plant Cove. I honestly don't remember anything about this track. I remember it's underwater. And actually, there's one thing I do remember about this track. And it's that the name just needs to be completely changed on this track. Because there's one piranha plant in the whole track, and you see him in like lap 2, right? Because this is one of those courses where like the lap layout changes. So you only see him for like one lap, and then he never shows up for the rest of the race. He didn't even make the picture. You know, the preview picture for Piranha Plant Cove is the eel. So then why are you naming it Piranha Plant Cove? And like the fact that that's the only thing I can honestly remember about this track, you know, like that's the only emotion I have towards this track, means it belongs perfectly in this tier. In that it's fine, but it did not leave a lasting impression, because the only impression it did leave on me was that the namesake was really, really dumb. Next is New York Minute, which, I mean, I can't really speak. This is like, I guess I've been to LA too, but like LA and New York are the only two places that I've been to out of the tour places. And, you know, LA I thought was fine. The oil rigs was weird, but New York does not feel like New York at all. And I know that shouldn't bother me, but it does. Have you ever seen New York City? For those of you who have been, have you ever seen New York City as empty as it is in Mario Kart? I mean, like, I'm being completely serious. Like, where did all the people go? It feels like it must have been like an apocalypse or something. You know, because New York City feels empty. And New York City, at least when I've been, has never felt empty. You know, it's a city that's supposed to be buzzing with life, and then so where is everyone? Like, I feel like at the bare minimum, what they had to do with this track is they had to put in, like, cars, right? Like, they had to put in the movie traffic that's in Toad's Turnpike and Shroom Ridge. Like, you have to put those cars in here. It's New York. What, you think there's not going to be cars driving? You know, when they're driving through New York? No. You know, unless this is like a 2020 kind of thing where it's like COVID and everything's locked down and nobody can go anywhere. So yes, that bothers me. Maybe it shouldn't bother me, but it does bother me that it just didn't even feel like the city that it's supposed to be in. And I don't even think the turns are that interesting. The music isn't that great. I mean, you could have just put in New Donk City from Super Mario Odyssey as the music, and that would have been a better song than this song. And yeah, the racing isn't even that fun. The turns, I mean, the streets are super wide, and because there's no traffic, it's very easy to maneuver. The turns aren't that interesting. There's like one interesting you could do, which is go on a paraglider and maybe hop on a car, you know, that's just like parked there or whatever. Like, this is just not a very interesting track that irks me, because when have you ever seen New York City not have any traffic? Next is Sunset Wilds. And like I was talking about with Piranha Plant Cove, the only lasting impression this track has made on me is that it's missing something, which of course, you know, long-time hardcore Mario Kart fans already know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I played a little bit of Mario Kart GBA, and you know, the one thing that I remember being really cool about this track was the sun setting as each lap progresses, right? Like, as each lap progresses, it goes from, like, I think it's like daytime to sunset to nighttime, you know, in each lap. And so the fact that it didn't have that, really disappointing. And so then it just becomes very meh. I don't think there's really anything, you know, I remember there being anything really that interesting or anything that really stands out aside from just Dancing Shy Guys. I mean, the Dancing Shy Guys are cool, they're cute, but this track did not leave a lasting impression on me at all. So, but I don't really have anything negative to say about it either. It's not like I've grown when I see this track selected, which just makes it perfect for this tier. It just exists. It's here. It happened. Next is Riverside Park, and this one I actually kind of do remember a little bit more, but it's just still, again, no real, like, you know, just thinking of the emotions just racing on it, it's fine. I think this is one where you like go like underneath the waterfall, right? And like you have that cave at the top. Yeah, and the piranha plants. Like this one's fine. You know, honestly, maybe could go in the next tier of good minus, but like I don't know. It just kind of exists. Again, like it's not like I remember it enough that it's not like I don't remember this track, but I just don't really have a lot of like positive emotions associated with it. But I don't really have negative ones either. So it's fine. It's short. It's sweet. It's not that bad. But you know, I think part of the problem is with just how many tracks there are in this game. Like while that would be a okay track in a lot of other Mario Kart games, there's just so many other good tracks in this game that tracks like this that are just like fine just kind of get pushed down more. And so that's really what I would say about Riverside Park. Just nothing, no really strong emotions about it, which is why it's in this tier. Next up is Toad Circuit, and I would be a hypocrite if I did not put it any higher. So I really did initially when doing out this tier list, I did put it in tracks that I've grown in. But I really don't have that, I don't have that negative reaction to this track getting selected. Maybe that's just because I like Mario Kart 7 a lot. I actually think Mario Kart 7 is very, very underrated. And I really do think, I mean, obviously you have to take out the booster course pass for this discussion, but I do think Mario Kart 7 has a going for it for like best course selection in any Mario Kart. It's just that it's stuck on the 3DS. So maybe that's why I had to put it higher, but at the end of the day, I can't really put it higher than this tier because it still suffers from the same problem I talked about in Mario Kart Stadium, which is this is the opener track to Mario Kart 7, which is, you know, cool when you first play it, but just lacks replayability. And what's really disappointing about this one was, like I literally just talked about, Mario Kart 7 is an amazing game with so many amazing tracks to pull from. It's disappointing that this is the one they picked. Like, you picked the worst track arguably in you know, from the game to add to this. Like, that's just lame. Like, I would have rather Daisy Hills than this, and I'm not even that big on Daisy Hills. But so yeah, that's really a little disappointing. But at least in Mario Kart World, it looks like we're getting some more Mario Kart 7 love. I would love to see the Woohoo tracks from Wii Sports Resort make an appearance, but the fact that we are getting Wario Shipyard and Shy Guy Bazaar is a good sign for more Mario Kart 7 representation. And hopefully with the DLC in Mario Kart World, obviously nothing's been announced yet, but come on, Nintendo would be stupid to not make more tracks for Mario Kart World. Hopefully we can get some more Mario Kart 7 love. Next is GBA Mario Circuit. GBA Mario Circuit has one interesting thing about it, and it's the little anti-grav section where you just do the one little 180 turn, and then that's really it. I mean, some of the turns are a little bit fun once you come off the 180, but there's just nothing really that interesting about it. The music isn't that interesting, the theming is so basic. This track is fine, it exists. And I really can't, you know, I know I'm saying everything over again for this tier, but I really don't have much more to say about it. It happens. Yeah, it happens. Next up is Tour Tokyo Blur. And this track, it cannot go any higher than this. This track, you gave me a sense of, oh no, with the tour tracks, right? Because this was, I think this was released alongside Paris Promenade, right? And so this track really gave me that feeling of, this is what we're getting. Like, instead of more cool retro tracks, we're getting these tour tracks. Like, do we really need more of these? And I will give credit to Nintendo. The tour tracks turned out very well, as I'm sure you'll see from later in this tier. But this track was just really like, this is just not that interesting. This is just not really that fun. You know, the landscape is cool, but I don't really play Mario Kart for the landscape. So, you know, just that feeling of, oh boy, Like, why do we need more of these? Really because of Tokyo Blur. And so, yeah, this track happened. It exists. I would rather play most other tracks on the game than this one. So, yeah, it's fixed perfectly here. Alright, back to talking about how Mushroom Cup is the weakest cup in all Mario Kart. Sweet, Sweet Canyon is next. And spoiler alert, it's followed by Water Park also. Like I said, Mushroom Cup, never been the strongest cup. I think it really is. I think if you were to go through every cup and like every cup from every Mario Kart game and give every cup a ranking, Mushroom Cup would have like the lowest average, like of every cup. Because Mushroom Cup is just underwhelming. But let's talk about Sweet Sweet Canyon first. I like the candy sweet part of it. The splitting path is cool. I don't know. You know, that shortcut at the end where you go through a donut is nice. The turns are just not really that interesting. You know, again, you have that long turn after the ride, after the glider ride, which is fine. And then even on the anti-grav stops. So I'm Team Pink. I'm pretty sure Pink is the one on the right. That's all just because something I learned in Mario Kart, you know, very early on from racing. Inside turn is superior. It's just, you know, always just better to take inside turn even if there's speed boost on the outside turn, because inside turn is just faster. So yeah, I'm on the inside turn, I'm on the right already, so you know, I'm Team Pink. But even then, it's just not that interesting. It's just another 180. Whoop, and that's just kind of it. Sweet Sweet Canyon is fine. It's a track that exists, and that's really all I have to say about that. Talk about Water Park and what is up with Mushroom Cup and having these long, windy turns in this game. Sweet Sweet Canyon had one. Water Park's defining, you know, segment is that long 180 turn. You know, Thwomp Ruins has one. Mario Kart Stadium has that 180 also. They really just like doing that for Mushroom Cup in this game for some reason. Yeah, I will say I like the theming of this one. It's cool having it be set in a water park is neat. Showing off the underwater thing is cool, although kind of like with anti-grav, it just doesn't really change with the gameplay that much. So I don't really care that much about it. And I mean, I will say this about like the long inside turn. I mean, this is the same thing with Sweet Sweet Canyon, but it feels way more satisfying in this one too. In Water Park is like, you know, so I use bike and so I use inside drift, and so what I really like about using a bike is that I can really hug the corner really well. Like I could be on the border of like road and off-road, and I can take turns really tight. It's not always the easiest, you know. When I have an off day, I really can't do that well. But it feels really satisfying on Water Park to like take that long ass turn and like hug the wall and be like right next to the wall without touching it. Hey y'all. So today is a different day. This is a different day than when I just recorded the last part. I'm also going to make a promise, because in between recordings I looked at how many tracks we have left. If I don't have that much to say about a track, I'm not going to try to fumble for stuff to say like I just did with Water Park. There are a lot of tracks to get through. I'm not trying to waste your time, and I'm not trying to waste my time either. So from this point on, if I don't have that much to say about a track, I'm just not going to say. I'm just going to say very little and then move on. There are too many of these things to go through to just, you know, try to come up with stuff to talk about. So, alright, Water Park is fine. It exists. I don't really care about it that much. Let's move on to the next one. Also, I just want to apologize. My hair does not look nearly as good. I'm not having nearly as good a hair day as when I first recorded this on the first day. But anyway, let's move on to the next one. One that I think may be a bit controversial. But this is really how I feel. I mean, all this is how I feel. Bowser's Castle. You know, the Mario Kart 8 Bowser's Castle. I do not think... To me, this track just tries to be way too edgy. And and it's like, it feels like an edgy teen who thinks they're cool, but like they're not really. I mean, nothing against anything against edgy teens, but like, I don't know. Like, I don't think the lasers at the beginning of this track are cool. Like, this track feels like it's trying to be threatening by having like all these cool weapons rather than just having like a threatening atmosphere. Like, if you look at Bowser's Castle in the N64 and the GameCube, those felt like, wow, like this is a big, strong castle just by being a big, strong castle with music. This one feels like they forgot how to do that for some reason, and they artificially just had to make it feel big and strong by just making you drive through certain weapons, and I don't think it's that cool. And the music really exemplifies that too. The sort of, just like the hard rock guitar for what is supposed to be like a threatening castle, I don't think it works at all. And so you combine all that with the fact that I don't think the course is that fun to race on, and we already got a giant Bowser. It was in Mario Kart Wii, and actually in GameCube they did something similar too. Like, this track to me just doesn't get anything right about what makes Bowser Castles good games in the good tracks in the past. So to me, this is really just a very disappointing one, and it's one that, yeah, like I never really care to race on ever. All right, next is Hyrule Circuit. I don't really know how to feel about this one. I feel like they could have done a Zelda track much better than this one. I get that they wanted to keep it general, like not just pull a Zelda theme just from a specific game, but this really does not do anything for me. I mean, driving into Hyrule Castle is cool, I guess, but you're only in there for 2 seconds. You barely see the Master Sword. The puzzle thing, it's fine, but inside turn is always faster and like everything. So, I don't know. This track just feels very basic, which is quite sad because they could have just done so much more with the Zelda track. I mean, the coins being rupees is nice, I guess. I don't know. I don't really have that much to say on this track. It just feels really basic, which is just really sad for a Zelda track. Like, I feel like the most they did is Control C, Control V the coins into rupees, and Control C, Control V the piranha plant into the like the little plant thing from Ocarina of Time. That feels like the most they did with this track. Like, like it's just pretty basic, and that's just sad. Okay, here's another controversial one, at least just based off of how much people seem to like it online. I do not understand the hype for Excitebike Arena. I really do not. It is 2 turns, guys. It's 2 turns. And I just already talked about how I think the winding turns aren't really that, aren't the most fun turns anyway. So, winding turn 1, winding turn 2, they're exactly the same. And listen, I see enough of the tricks just from playing Mario Kart. Right? Like, you usually see a couple of them erase at least. So, especially as someone who just plays Dry Bones mostly, I mean, how could you not just play Dry Bones? But, I've seen all the trick animations before. Like, it's not, he has the one where he, like, kicks his leg out. He has the one where he pops his head off. And then, like, there's a third there that I'm pretty sure that I'm just not remembering. But, like, I've seen all the tricks already. A dozen times, way more than that. Like, I've seen the tricks so many times. So why do we have a course just featuring the tricks? It's not that interesting. It's not that entertaining. And there's 1 turn that you just have to do 6 times. And that's it. This track is boring. I do not understand why it gets picked online so much. Like, if you're... If you play Mario Kart enough to be online playing Mario Kart, you will see the trick animations a lot. So, like, it's really not that exciting. Like, you know, pick a track that has actual turns. You know, more than one turn in it. Or I guess, yeah, more than one turn, just copy and paste it. And you will still see tricks in it just fine. I do not understand the hype for this track. And that is the end of the meh tier. I know it sounds like I was just hating on Excitebike. I really think it's just fine. The trick animations are cool, but I just don't understand why everyone seems to think it's higher. Really more than anything else. But now that brings us to our next tier, which is good minus. And so the thing with good minus is they're not quite good. This is like the in-between track, in-between tier. They're not like fine, like they're above tracks that exist. You know, they're tracks that I have a little bit of like, hey, this is good, but I can't really call them good either. So this is that in between where I like them a tiny bit, you know, a tiny amount, but not enough that I can really call them good. So hence they are good minus. Next up is Ice Outpost. This one also feels a little bit basic, but unlike Hyrule Circuit, right? Like Hyrule Circuit was relying on the theming to make it not be basic, and as I will continue to say throughout this tier list, the theming wears thin when you're playing this track, you know, for a ton of times. But Ice Outpost took a basic track and like a basic layout, and they at least tried to make it more interesting with the split paths aspect of it, and the, you know, like the fact that there are multiple shortcuts that are off the path that you can take. And you know, I'm like, they're not the easiest, like especially the one at the end, the one right in front of the finish line. That one can make or break you, because if you are not positioned like correctly when you land, you can, you know, because you have to turn into it, like you have to like line yourself up correctly so you can be able to do it. And if you don't line yourself up correctly, you could just fall, and that could just like lose you the race. But at the same time, if you go for the shortcut and, you know, first place didn't go for the shortcut and you're like right on first place's tail, that can win you the game. So, you know, like very risk reward. I really like that aspect of it, and especially with the other shortcuts too, they all have that. So like it's a basic track that they added these tiny things to make it more interesting and more fun. And I appreciate that, because I do think it is more interesting and more fun because of those things they added. But it's still a basic track with add-ons, and so that's why it's where it is. All right, next is Madrid Drive, and I have to be real with you. I had to go back and like just quickly skim through like a Madrid Drive video on YouTube, like of this track, just to remember something. And it's like, again, like I don't remember it being like bad, it being like, you know, like lower than this, but I didn't have any strong emotions either. And it's like, yeah, like watching it back, it's like, okay, the turns are more complex, so they're more fun than something, you know, more basic. But, and, you know, they have the Wiggler, Sleeping Wiggler, and they have the soccer arena. I mean, the problem with the soccer arena is, what, didn't this come after, I think it was Vancouver, that has, like, the ice rink? And so, like, this one, it's fine, but it doesn't really have anything, like, recognizable that really, like, stands out. And that's the thing, right? There are 96 tracks. I believe it was 96. So, like, if you don't do anything to stand out, you're just going to be lost in the sea of all these tracks. And that's sort of what I feel like happens to Madrid Drive. I'm sorry to any of you people who are in Madrid. This is nothing against you. It's just, you know, this is just my opinion on this track. I've never been there. Yeah, this track, it just feels a little bit basic, and it feels like they took stuff that has already been done. I mean, the Wiggler, hello, Maple Tree Way, like I just said, the soccer stadium feels like a remix of something they already did. So, you know, this one's fine, it has some fun turns, but it just doesn't really have anything that makes this track really just stay in your memory. Next up is Amsterdam Drift, and I really should have grouped the two together, Amsterdam and Madrid, because I basically am going to say the exact same things I just said about Madrid. Like, I just had to go back and watch a video of someone racing on this track, and it feels like the exact same thing. Like, the turns are fun, the turns are engaging. So it's not like you're just sitting there just like Excitebike, just like, mashing the trick button. Like, that keeps you engaged and that's fun. But like, there's just nothing that really stands out to me about this track. There's an underwater section. Okay, a lot of tracks have underwater sections, right? There's a flower section at the end. Okay, Mario Circuit and Double Dash. Had a similar sort of ending feel to me. I don't know, like, this track seems like it's fun. There's actually a clip from this track that is one of my most popular videos, just because of Green Shell homing AI. But like, this just doesn't feel like anything that really stands out to me about this track. As being like, wow, this is a really good track. Like, no, like, it's a fun enough track. It seems like, when you play it, but it just doesn't really stand out of the pack, which is really just perfect for this tier. So yeah, that's Amsterdam. Never been. Next is Dry Desert. This is, this one's alright. This is another Mushroom Cup. Talk about how mediocre the Mushroom Cup is. I believe this was the final track from Mushroom Cup in Double Dash. I'm trying to think. It was Waluigi Circuit, Peach Beach, something else, and then Baby Park, and then Dry Desert. From the noggin, that's how much Mario Kart I played. And so, yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that this track lacks two of the really cool things from the GameCube, which is the tornado. Seeing the tornado constantly go over the track was a neat feature. I'm not really sure why that returned. And also, when you get sucked into the vortex in this one, it's not nearly as cool as on GameCube. Now, I guess the benefit of this one rather than GameCube, which is if you get sucked into that in GameCube, like, this monster comes out and eats you, and like, you like fade to black, and so like you really lose a lot of progress. Like, if that happens to you in the first lap, you will spend the rest of the race just trying to make up for all that ground you lost. And if it happens to you any later, you're not getting first place. You're just going to try to salvage what you can because you're not winning. And so I guess that's really the good thing about not having the monster appear and just having Zaka to take you back. But it's just not, like, as exciting. But this one is still cool. I like the drifts at the beginning where you have to, like, dodge the pokies. Like, I think sort of planning your turns around a moving obstacle like that is pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. Like, this one is fun enough to drive on, but it's just not, like I said, it's just not, there's so much just better in this game. But, this one has its moments. Next is Toad's Turnpike. This one is okay. I enjoy it. I enjoy dodging the traffic. Inside turn is cool. I'm very mixed on the change from N64. So for those of you who don't know, who haven't played Mario Kart 64, because they're not a freak, like, if you're not a freak like me who didn't play every Mario Kart game, the way the items were distributed in this one was really weird on the N64. So you have those in this one. You have those things on the side. I believe it's still in this game, but with coins. You have, like, those little. They're like, what are they called? Like, on, like, an actual road. It's like that little lane, like, next to the lane where you can pull over. I forget exactly what it's called, but they would have some of those jut out, with coins in this game. But in the original, that's how you get items. Was, you have to, like, look for these, like, little jut outs in the road, and that's how you get items. And so if you miss them, tough luck. And so, like, items were really sparse on this course in the original. I don't know. I mean, it's certainly an interesting thing that would have made this course more unique, although I actually think I'm fine with this change, because the one thing I've noticed about playing games, like, you know, I played Bomb Bombs only before, like even before they put in this custom rule set. And one thing that you really noticed is that what winds up happening is someone will take a big lead in first, and then it's like if someone ever takes a big lead in first, it's just like impossible to get to them. So, you know, I guess that solves that, but that at the same time, that was something that made this track really unique in N64. So, I don't know. I still think the idea of dodging traffic is cool, but really, this is a poor man's Moonview Highway. You know, this is, we have Moonview, you know, do we have Moonview Highway at home? Yes, we do. It's Toad's Turnpike. Which, I mean, this track came before Moonview Highway, but you get what I'm saying, just in terms of ideas. Like, you know, Moonview Highway just feels like it did this idea, but better. Next up is London Loop, and this is a bad job by me. I'm realizing when I put this tier list, I should have put this with the other two, because I'm really tempted to roll the same tape that I literally just played on those two. I went back and watched the video just to make sure I wasn't missing anything, and my opinion is literally like basically the exact same as with the other two. I know it's funny because with Tokyo Blur I talked about how like I thought a lot of the tour tracks were pretty good, and that's true. I believe. Let me double check. Okay, there's one more tour track in this tier, but then everything else is like good. But you know, just like, you know, it really is like the same thing. This track has fun turns, it has interesting turns to keep you engaged, but it just doesn't really have anything that memorable. I mean, so what? This one has chain chomps, and then the final lap, chain chomps get loose. Have you ever heard of Peach Gardens? Which is actually in, you know, the booster pass? Like, I don't know, like, this one, yeah, you know, it's fun enough, like, if you get it selected, but it doesn't really leave a lasting impression on me at all. Same thing I said about the other two. Next up is Sky Garden. Sky Garden feels like the epitome of short and sweet. Because this one has some fun turns, it also feels like it's just it's super short. It's kind of a basic track again, but it has interesting enough turns to keep you engaged. I like the shortcut right at the end, where if you have a mushroom, you can like go through like that little tree gap thing. Yeah, I mean, this has some interesting, you know, like turns are fun enough, but it's just, you know, this is a track that feels good that it's short. Because the theme is alright, the music is bland, you know, the tracks are bland, but, you know, it's entertaining enough that it's not completely forgettable, but it really just is like, okay, this is a track. And this is kind of the problem with a lot of the Game Boy and SNES tracks, just in general, is that, like, without, like, a complete revamp, a lot of the tracks, that's just how a lot of the tracks feel, unfortunately. So, yeah, that's no different with Sky Garden. Next up is Paris Promenade. I do remember this one more because this one was in I believe it was in Past 1. You know, like, this was the one they released with Tokyo, and that gave me the impression of, is this really what the tour tracks are going to be like? And of course, it turns out a decent amount, you know, what, 3 of them were like this one, but a lot of them were not, and were better. This one, I guess I like the open space of it. This was really the first introduction to the branching paths, right? Doesn't this one I believe has you drive in reverse in the lap 3. That is a really cool idea, actually. It's something that we've never really seen in Mario Kart before, is driving backwards. Now, I know that's because a lot of the tracks aren't made to be driven backwards, but it would be cool if more were. Like, I think it is a really cool idea of just taking a track and just kind of just doing something simple like that and flipping it and just kind of changing your perspective. And so that is one thing I do really like about this track. But again, you know, the turns are pretty basic. It's kind of wide, which makes the turns easier. But, you know, I guess everything's gonna be wide now with 24 races, but you know, 24 racers, which I still don't really fully understand why they did. But yeah, like this one's all right. You know, the reverse track is cool, and that's, you know, that's like really the best thing I have to say about this one. Oh, Baby Park, what have they done to you? And like, I wasn't even your biggest fan in the first place in the GameCube, but to me, what they've done to Baby Park feels like turning on Pro Rules in Mario Party Jamboree. If you want to hear me talk about Pro Rules and Mario Party Jamboree, check out my Mario Party Jamboree items tier list video. But yeah, I mean, I sort of feel like if you're going to play a chaotic track, you have to embrace the chaos. And the one thing I will give this course is that actually it's a change I really liked, and I'm surprised they did, is that they changed the lap music for each lap, so it gets progressively faster and faster, so it sounds like, you know, like you're entering hell, you know, like you're going through the circles of hell as it speeds up, right? Like I could totally see this being like a circle of hell. It's just putting you in Baby Park and just making you race over, you know, like 100 laps. So you just have the music slowly increase, you know, and get like louder to drive you insane. But yeah, you know, really the biggest thing that they did against this track was they removed they had that border in the center. Why do they have that border in the center? Right? Like I think in Double Dash they had something to make it off-road, but it wasn't as big because shells could cross over the center. And so like that's the best part, and you know, really you need the Bowser shell for this track to work. I know like that's something that can't really happen anyway because that's bring back specialty items, which was just something in Double Dash, but it was really the fact that shells could travel over the center and you had the Bowser shell is what made this track so chaotic in GameCube, because someone would inevitably throw a Bowser shell and then it would just bounce around the whole arena and just like hit like everybody. You know, right? Like when there were Bowser shells going around the arena all at once, it was just like, I'm just gonna drive and pray I don't get hit by one. And so really that's the chaos that would be more fun. Like you could still make this track fun without that divide if you just played like shells only. Right, like a game mode that would be really, really fun if that divide in the center didn't exist. It would still be fun now, but it would be much less. It'd be much less fun. Is Baby Park green shells only, like triple greens. Everyone gets triple greens, and everyone's sending shit everywhere, and it's just bouncing everywhere. Like that could be fun. Like that's the kind of chaos this game needs. And I'm also gonna put a seizure warning now. Epilepsy warning, because I do have a really funny clip of me trying to capture that chaos with a friend. It's Baby Park, bombs, and blue shells only. So if you have a problem with a bunch of flashing lights, this is not the clip to watch for you, but I'm just gonna, you know, if it's not playing now, I'm gonna put it on now. But this is how you recapture the Baby Park magic. It just make explosions happen everywhere. But that's where I feel like Baby Park is best, and they kind of just really tuned it down. I mean, not obviously you can't really bring the Bowser shells back, but you know, that divide in the center is really annoying. Alright, next up is Thwomp Ruins. Mushroom Cup again. This one, I don't know. I mean, the theming is cool. I will give it that. But just the actual track itself just is not that exciting. The winding turn, I get, you know, it's beginning. It's satisfying to like go up against that edge, and you know, especially with the thing rolling down during lap 2. But yeah, like I don't know. It's like even when it opens up into that big area, it feels like it's still really basic. Of just go from A to B. And like there's multiple different ways to do it. The glider section in the middle feels like the best way, but even that's kind of basic. And like even when that doesn't open up to you, I guess I don't know. It depends on the water actually slows you down. And the best way may actually be to just go into the water. But I usually hug a wall, you know, go with the anti-grav next to the thwomp, like, you know, like, and that's like it's like one defining feature. and the thwomps aren't really too tough to avoid in like the final section. Like, I don't know. This is a track where once again the theming is better than the track itself, and theming, you know, only lasts so long, as I've said a million times and will continue to say. But yeah, theming is better than the track, and that's why it's here. Also, by the way, I should have mentioned this with Toad's Turnpike too. Yeah, the fact that you can ride the wall is, you know, like, that's a cool feature. I guess that's one cool thing about anti-grav. But there's a problem with that, which is something that I've noticed when I play Mario Kart, you know, this game more, which is inside turn is always faster. And, you know, it's just like a basic, you know, think of like circumference of a circle, right? You know, by going outside turn, even though there's speed boosts, you have more distance to travel than if you were on the inside turn. And something I've just noticed by playing this game enough is that the speed boosts do not make up for the longer distance of taking the outside edge of the circle. And so, yeah, like, that part's cool, but I could never take it because it's slower. And I'm trying to win. So inside turn is just always better. And so, yeah, like, it's cool, nice try, but it's just the worst path to take. Alright, next up is Twisted Mansion. This one's alright. I mean, obviously it's here. This is one where I feel like the theming is alright and the track is alright, and they come together to be in this tier. I feel like the theming could be better. I know Boo's house, like, that's a cool one. Like, that's sort of an easy one to go for. I'm sure there will be some kind of ghost house something in this one. But I don't know, kind of like with Bowser's Castle, I just don't really feel like it really nailed the theme of, you know, that kind of like Mario World has nailed, and some other games have nailed with the ghost houses, of just making them feel really expansive and kind of like you're losing yourself in this. And like, I don't really feel that vibe that much from this track. Seeing Boo is cool. I'm a big Boo supporter, but you know, like, this track, it just theming wise, it feels like it could be a lot better, and that just goes with the track itself too. You know, the turns are fine. You know, there's some interesting stuff, like the ending can be cool, but it's just not, you know, it feels like it could just be a lot better. And so, yeah, that's why it's here. It's, you know, it's enjoyable enough, but this just feels like this track is outclassed by most of the game. Next up is Cheep Cheep Beach. This one, basic theming, but it has more fun turns. Weirdly weird. And I also like, this is something I like with that, the fact that you can go in the water actually opens up more movement options in this one, because you can just take the basic land path, or you could, you know, try like an experiment going with the water. You know, you can't, obviously, it's not a fully open world, it's not Mario Kart World, you know, but like, just giving you more movement options is cool. And so, yeah, it's, you know, the music's pleasant. You know, I like the cheap jumping in front of you when you're racing. Like, I don't know. This track is alright. It's a good enough time, and that's why it's here. You know, like, it's like, okay, Cheep Beach, you know, this is gonna be an alright couple minutes. You know, right? So, I don't know. I don't really have a ton to say about Cheep Beach. It's kind of just Cheep Beach. I don't know what else you want me to tell you. Next up is Grumble Volcano. And Grumble Volcano is, you know, this is what I talk about ordering, because I actually like Grumble Volcano a decent amount more. You know, I like Grumble Volcano more than the tracks on the bottom of this tier. Just because the turns are more fun. I'm very meh on the gimmick. Like, it's a cool idea, but I don't know. You know, maybe it's just because I was younger when I first played Mario Kart Wii. I don't really feel like I'm missing a ton with the parts that fell off, because I kind of just drive the same way regardless. So that's never really been an issue for me. But it is a cool idea. And I think part of this also is Mario Kart 8 versus Mario Kart Wii. Mario Kart Wii was a much more punishing game than Mario Kart 8. And, you know, sometimes I go back and forth on whether that's better or worse, you know, for this game. Because Grumble Volcano, if you get stuck while the ground's lowering in Wii, and I don't know, I felt like it was much harder to get stuck. Maybe that's it. Maybe they decreased the ground from this one. Because or maybe I'm just better. I don't really know. I mean, I am better. That much I know, but like if you get stuck when the ground's lowering in Mario Kart Wii, like that's a killer. You know, that'll set you back a long way. And Mario Kart 8, it just doesn't really have that. It'll still set you back, but it's not the same. So that might be part of it, that it's just not as consequential. Although, again, I don't think that's really entirely bad, because I don't really love the idea of going from first to last because of one mistake. So again, I go very back and forth on that, but you know, this one's fine. You know, it's enjoyable, and yeah. So that's Grumble Volcano. All right, next up, SNES Rainbow Road. I have to qualify. I have to stay with Rainbow Road because this game has 6 Rainbow Roads, by the way. Just so you all know. 6, I believe, if I did my math right. Let's see, everyone ready? 8, SNES, Wii, 7, N64. Okay, I guess there's 5. Unless I'm missing something. Wait, okay. SNES, N64, does not have Game Boy, Wii, 3DS, and the Mario Kart 8 one. I thought there were 6. Okay, maybe there's just 5. Either way, this is the worst one, and it's kind of like literally what I was saying earlier about SNES and Game Boy tracks. Like, it's just more basic, just because they didn't really expand like the Mario Kart tracks were just very basic in those games, and that's just really how I feel. I mean, the shortcut at the end with the mushroom is cool. I could really do without the thwomps in this one. I don't think the thwomps really add that much, because it doesn't feel like it's that hard to look ahead and just judge which path you should go, and kind of the tricks of the waviness is like okay. There are some interesting turns in here, and this is one where I can get like that little bit of adrenaline rush where like hitting the turns, like when I'm in first place, like narrowly first place, or trying to catch up. But like overall, really, I think the track would be much better without the thwomps. Yeah, and so you know, I don't know. This one's fine. It has some interesting turns, has some interesting parts. I think my favorite part also about this track is the beginning, and I think that's probably what brings it down. It's like those nice couple turns in the beginning, like really up until like you have like those little ramps like after that turn. That's when I think the race becomes much less interesting. But first couple turns feel really good, and I like them. But then it's just kind of throwing the same stuff at you, just with thwomps, and I don't think the thwomps add that much, and I would like to see something different. So yeah, this track is enjoyable, but it just feels like a lot of missed potential here. But again, that's also just kind of because of what game it came from. So next up is Bone Dry Dunes. This is one where if you asked me to rank all the base game Mario Kart 8 tracks 10 years ago, I definitely would have put this one higher. I think part of it is just time, and part of it is just more tracks. And more tracks meaning in order to be a higher ranked track, the standard is higher because there's more good tracks to compete with. And so I do enjoy Bone Dry Dunes. I know that maybe not be that popular. This track seems to get hated on for some reason. But I do enjoy this track. I'm still trying to figure out which path is better, if the anti-grav path is better or the non-anti-grav path is better, because I'm not fully sure. I go back and forth on which one feels faster. And by the way, I should say this is all arbitrary. I'm not like a Mario Kart 8. I'm not a Mario Kart speedrunner, you know, and I'm not really someone who dives super deep on like the data and everything. I'm just someone who plays a lot of Mario Kart and is very competitive, so he tries to win. But yeah, so I'm not sure which path is better. I don't know, like it's all right. Playing on this one as Dry Bones is kind of funny because there's Dry Bones at the end. It's like, oh, you're my brethren. You're my bigger brethren. Like, you know, who's the one with the smaller size here, right? You know, am I the small one or are you the small one? Like, what's going on here? But I will say it is cool. It's nice for Dry Bowser and Dry Bones to get their own tracks. It doesn't feel like that ever really happens. So yeah, I enjoy this one. The turns are enjoyable enough. You know, I enjoy the music and the theming. Like, this is one that I have an enjoyable time when I play. But, you know, that's just it. That's why it's in this tier. Lastly in this tier, the top of this tier, I'm going to start counting down Rainbow Roads, baby. Mario Kart 8 Rainbow Road is here. And, okay, here's the thing about this track. This track would be a really good track if it was named anything else. This track just does not feel like a Rainbow Road. It does not have that majestic-esque Rainbow Road feel. If they named this track just like, I don't know, I guess it would be like something Space Station. Like if you come up with a name for the Space Station, but I think the battle mode is called like Lunar Space Station. So okay, if you call this track Lunar Space Station, and maybe you just change a little of the background stuff a little bit, this would be a good track. This would go at least in good. And it could very well find its way into good plus. The reason why it's here is because it's Rainbow Road. And this track just does not feel like Rainbow Road at all. This is, it's unfortunate. It's one of the worst Rainbow Roads because it just completely misses the mark on the theming. Just 100%. Rainbow Road is not something that's supposed to be super techy and everything like that. Like, it's just supposed to be majestic. You're taking this magical road as the final lap, you know, right? Like as your final challenge. And this just completely misses the mark on that theming, unfortunately. Which is why it's very conflicting, because this is still a good track, right? If this, like I said, if this was named like Lunar Space Colony, this would be a pretty good track. But the fact that it's Rainbow Road just takes it down because it's not really Rainbow Road to me. And so, very weird one to rank, but that's why I rank it here, because I would have rather this been like at the beginning of Special Cup, or just even in Star Cup, and then we just get a completely different Rainbow Road. That's what I would have preferred, and instead, the fact that this is Rainbow Road, it's just disappointing. Alright, next up is Good. This track is called Good. Also, I apologize. I accidentally recorded the segment from the next track before I recorded this tier intro, so whoops. But this is the power of editing. But yeah, so this tier is Good, and these are tracks that are good. Good, but not great. They're solid tracks that I enjoy playing on, but they are not like the best of the best. And so yeah, that's just really it. Solid, good tracks that are fun, but that are still have ways to go to being, you know, the best of the best. Alright, next up is N64 Yoshi's Valley. This is the case where I actually think it's good. This track is way less punishing than the N64, because if you guys haven't played on the N64, if you fall off this track, you're done. You cannot fall off this track once, because what happens is, in order for Lakitu won't pick you up until you roll your ass all the way down to the ground. So, you know, you will be like a half lap. So by the time you're done rolling and Lakitu picks you up, you will be like a half lap behind everybody. So this is a track where it's really good. actually, that to be less punishing in Mario Kart 8. And I will say one thing though that I wish they did keep from the original is, I guess maybe it would have been tough to do online. Is that maybe that's why they got rid of it? I'm not sure. Is in the original track, you couldn't see your place. Like this track refused to show you what place you were in. And I think that was really on theme for like a valley where you're not really going to see anybody, right? Like, you know, there's so many different paths. You may not see a lot of your racers for a lot of the track. And of course, it's different now with 12 racers. There used to be 8. And so, you know, I thought that idea was really cool, and it would have been cool to see it back, especially because there's so many different paths. The track gets a little wonky. You know, like the first place, second place, everything like that. But the one thing I will say, maybe this is just me, with the different paths, I just found one I liked, and I just stuck with it. I just stick with it every time. If you're wondering, it's left. Once you get into the valley, it's like over that rickety bridge that you see right at the left. Just go over that and just kind of follow that path, and then it just takes you right to where you need to go. Pretty simple. But, you know, that's just kind of the best to be, you know, repeatable, you know, to do well. So yeah, I think that's something that really hurts this track for me, is that the different paths are cool, but you just kind of find one you like, and I don't know, maybe that's just me. That's just a me problem. The one advice I would give all of you though, do not take the cannon in this track. That's like the one thing they added, was they added a cannon. This thing is so much slower, because it just takes like way too long to get to, that it doesn't make up for the boost and the items that it gives you. So yeah, that will be my one advice to you. Do not take the cannon. Like whatever path you take, do not take that one, because that is a wrong choice. But yeah, I mean, this one's all right. I like the banjo, but yeah, you know, solid. Next up is Cloudtop Cruise, and I don't care if you're sick of hearing me saying this after an hour, because I'm going to keep saying it because it still matters, and it's going to matter for the rest of this tier list. Theme matters less than the actual track. And this is another case of a course where the theme is better than the actual racetrack. And I'm going to keep saying it for the rest of the tiers, because this is not, you know, if you think we're done talking about this topic, you are completely wrong. You know, the theme wears thin. Maybe that's not the right phrasing, but the theme wears thinner as you play tracks more. You know, like when you play tracks more, it's like, yeah, it's a cool theme, but guess what? I've seen it 100 times already. So then what starts to matter more is how fun the track is to actually race on. And so this is the problem that Cloudtop Cruise has. The theming is great. Having a course take place on a battle, like on an airship battle going through clouds. You come out of the clouds just right as they're playing Gusty Garden. Like, that's great. But the course isn't that great, which is why it's here. Yeah, the theming is great. Listen, when I hear Gusty Garden coming out of the clouds for the 100th time, it can only, you know, it doesn't do nearly as much for me as it did the first time. And again, this is a game that's 10 years old, so of course that's going to have more of an impact for me on the original courses. But yeah, this is a course where the actual turns are not as good as the theming. You know, the lightning section, just it's fine. It just feels very basic, and that takes up a decent amount of the lap. Unfortunately, the turns leading onto the airship are fine, and then the ending, definitely like that last section is the best part of the track, because again, you have that same risk reward of what I talked about in Ice Outpost with the final jump, where you can do the final jump if you line yourself up correctly, but it's that very risk reward because you can lose first by going for that jump. But sometimes you have to. I've been in positions where I knew I was like right in front of someone, and I knew from previous laps that they were going to take the shortcut, so I had to take the shortcut if I wanted to win. Like, that's like clutch time right there. And so, like, yeah, that risk reward part is cool, but once again, the theming, you know, is greater than the track. What was it? The eyes are, you know, like when food, like what? The eyes are bigger than the stomach. You know, it feels like, I don't know if that makes any sense what I'm trying to say, but just the theming was greater than the track. Rome Avanti is next. Oh boy, these tour tracks, I really don't remember that much. I had to watch another video of this one, but you know what? My gut was right to place it here, because I remembered this one being more fun, and I was right. This one is more fun. So just looking at it, like, the turns are way more dynamic and cool. Racing through the Coliseum is a really cool idea. Like, I don't know. This is a well-executed tour track that is more fun than all the others I talked below. That keeps me wanting to go back. It's like watching that video. It's like, wow, I want to go back and like actually like play this course again. So yeah, this is definitely a better executed tour tracks than a lot of the others, but it still has to stay here because I still have to watch a video to remember it. So obviously did not have the best impression, but it was definitely solid. I would definitely put this above the other tour tracks, which is, you know, why it's here. Next is Los Angeles laps, and I'm glad I put this together because a lot of what I just have to say about Rome, I just have to say about LA again. I will say though, I did remember more about this one. I think it's just gotten, I've seen it online more. That's really why. But you know, like basically everything I said is true. I still did go back to the video just to make sure. But yeah, this is a fun track. You know, this is a good track. This is like one that's fun to race on, but still, you know, I'm sorry, I'm just playing with my hair. Still, you know, it feels like there's room for improvement, which is why it's here. But I still do enjoy playing on this track when I play it. The oil mines, it's just like the whole mining section of LA. It's so kind of funny that like this is here. It's kind of like, why is this here? But it makes for an interesting racing part. I still can't believe Dodger Stadium is here. But yeah, this is a cool track. This is a fun track to race on. But it just feels like there's so much more, many better tracks that I just can't really put it higher. There we go. I just combed my hair a little bit, so I won't get distracted by it. Next up, I just mentioned it not that long ago, Moonview Highway. Yeah, this is just better Toad's Turnpike. This one is fun. It's chaotic. The bomb, you really gotta watch out for the bomb carts. Again, they're not like as much of a threat as in Wii, just because like you're not stuck in like hit stun for like as long as you are in that game, right? And like Wii U, you like go up and then down, and then with this one, you just kind of spin out for a second. It's still bad, but you're not just as royally screwed. But this is a fun one. This one is just really chaotic. I really like the chaos of this track. It really just does feel like you're just told to like go race like on a freeway, right? Like imagine just like getting like go-karts and then just like going onto like a highway and just like racing around, just like dodging cars. It's like super dangerous and stupid, and no one should do that. I'm not advocating for that, but that's just like what this track feels like. And the reason why I would recommend you play Moonview Highway and not do that in real life is because in Moonview Highway on Mario Kart, if you get hit by a car, you just spin out. And that's just kind of it. And you just kind of just go on with your day rather than, you know, dying potentially or getting seriously injured. But I really like that chaos of just like, okay, here's a highway, go for it. It's funny, it's goofy. I like the section at the end where you have to like connect the speed boosts. You know, you gotta like plan those out. I don't know. This is an enjoyable track. I think really what holds it back the most is it's a little bit too much chaos. Just a tiny bit. You know, sometimes it can at least feel that way, where sometimes I feel like you can just get screwed by things not out of your control. And, you know, that's also kind of why I didn't love Baby Park even when it was at its most chaotic. But with that one and with this one, and I'm glad they did it right in this one, which is if you're gonna play a chaotic track, you gotta go all in on the chaos, right? So I'm glad that the chaos is good and alive in this track, but the chaos prevents it from getting higher. But if you're gonna play a chaotic track, better as hell make sure that it's still chaotic. Next up is Merry Mountain. This is one that I enjoy. That's pretty fun. Yeah, like this one is just fun. Like I'm struggling to think of things to say other than just like, okay, the turns are fun. I like the theme of like climbing up a hill, like you're getting towards the summit. Of course, it feels like you're barely on the summit, but that's also just inside turn. Like I said, inside turn is always faster. You know, if you take one thing out of this video and you want to improve your Mario Kart skills, inside turn is always faster. Think of it like the circumference of a circle. So yeah, like going to the outer turn and going on the ramp, the what you call it, the trick ramp, whatever it's called. I don't remember what it was called in Wii, and in this one, being up at the ramp where you go up and you go down. Like, yeah, that's cool, but you know, it's slower, so. But yeah, like this is a fun one. This is a fun one to race on. The turns are really fun and they're engaging, and I really like after that wooden bridge part where you're like really like climbing steep. Now, that part is it's neat. This is a really neat track, and so I have fun playing on it every time I play it. And so. Yeah, it's like a more updated version of DK Pass. And I like DK Pass quite a bit, so that's not hitting on anything here. But yeah, this feels like a more modern day version of DK Pass. I'd probably still take DK Pass over this one. Maybe that's just nostalgia, but you know, this is still a good fun track. Alright, next up is Berlin Byways. Now we have a tour track that I actually don't need a recap video for. This one's pretty fun. I did watch this part of a video, but I didn't even finish it because I remember my opinion on this track is the same. This is a fun, good track, and this is one where I like that they have a bunch of different stuff. You have wide open areas with traffic where you have to dodge. You have small, parts that require more precise turns. You know, like that train part and that part where there's like 2 levels of road. You know, you have the swamps with the Berlin Wall, which is just like an amazing touch. Like, this one is just fun. This feels like a just good example of just, you know, you want to play an all-around good fun track. This is one you pick. Turns are fun, the different parts of it are engaging, and everything like that. So yeah, this is a really solid track, and that's really what I feel about a lot of these tiers in general. The tracks in this tier in general, these are just solid tracks. And so this fits perfectly in it. There's a lot of good stuff to like about Berlin Byways. As for why it's not higher, well, that's just my opinion, I guess. But I just have more fun playing a lot of other tracks than this one. But this is still one, like, none of the tracks in this tier are bad. It just means I have more fun with the other ones. And so, yeah, this one's good. It's engaging. It's fun. I guess I just don't really have that same love of just like the turns of this track that I do with a lot of the other tracks that are higher, you know? Where it's just like, yeah, like this feels amazing to like race and killing every turn and doing everything like that. Like, I don't really get that vibe from Berlin Byways. But this is one that does manage to do the theme and the track pretty well. They use the theme to sort of put a bunch of different stuff in this track, and they do a good job with it. So I like this track. This is a really solid one. Alright, next up is Boo Lake. This one feels like the ultimate short and sweet track. It is pretty short. It doesn't take that long. It's not that big of a track, but a lot of the turns are fun and engaging, and I actually think the length of this track is perfect because, yeah, the theming is alright, the music's fine, you know, the turns are fun, but they're not like top tier turns, so I think this is literally just the perfect length. Like, you know, it just puts you in, you do some fun turns, and then you're done. Right? Like, this track does not try to be something that it's not, which is something that I really appreciate. It's just trying to be a short, small, nice little fun track, you know, for everyone to race on. And that's something I enjoy about this track. And so, you know, yeah, and just like that, track is short, my review of this track is also short. It's good. Alright, next up is Kalamari Desert. This is one where I would be curious to have the option to maybe turn the different track style off, like if you could. Like if you could do this just like a regular 3-lap race, like could you? You know, like would that be more fun? Probably not. But I will say this is a really neat idea what they've done, because I have tried this as a kid in Mario Kart 64 before, you know, to see like, can you go through the train tunnel? And yes, you can. You might get run over by the train once, but you can go through the tunnel. It's way too slow, but you can do it. And so I really like the idea of taking like this track, which, let's be real, this is, I believe this is Mushroom Cup. In, you know, here we go, back with the Mushroom Cup slander. But this track is fine. I think it's enjoyable enough. I think without the extra turn, like without the swap in the middle of the lap, you know, lap 2 where you go on the train track, this would definitely be a tier below. This would be a good minus. But the one thing I will say about that, doing that, is it makes the track feel significantly shorter. Right? Because you have like half of lap 2, you know, and then you go on the train tracks, and then it's just like immediately lap 3. That's the one part that I think is lame. Like, I wish they did it a little bit longer, like maybe 2 laps, and then I don't know, because it feels like it hurts the feel of it a little bit, because this is a longer track in Mario Kart 64, and then it sort of feels like you have one normal lap, and then it really, if the second lap feels way too short, because it feels like they turned the second, if this track feels like it's 2 laps. And I know it technically has 3 laps, but it really does not feel like it has 3 laps. It feels like it has 2 laps. You know, the third lap, does the third lap, I would have to check again, but I don't think it does. Does the third lap, is that parallel to the actual starting line? No, it's not. So, this is a weird one. It feels like they made a track 3 lap, you know, that was 3 laps, 2 laps. And this is not nearly as long as Wario Coliseum from GameCube, which I'm very happy that's coming back from Mario Kart World, by the way. I really like that track. So, you know, to really justify doing that. So this one kind of feels like, yeah, I wish it was a little bit longer, just because it feels like it took a 3-lap track and made it into 2. And so I wish they had done that differently, maybe 2 normal laps on this one. I don't really know. I still enjoy this track. I enjoy that they changed it up and have you go on the train. So this is a cool track. I remember in Mario Kart 64, I would actually have to stop at the train crossing. You know, like train crossing would be kind of like a detriment to you, because everyone would get a chance to catch up. And like, that's kind of cool. That's something you don't ever really see in Mario Kart. So it would be cool to really have like that be more of, I don't know, like that's just a fun idea. But yeah, that's really my one thing about this track. It feels like a 2-lap track, but it's good. So I don't know. Next up is Shy Guy Falls. This is another one that has gotten pushed down by the sea of extra added tracks from the booster course. Because definitely in Mario Kart 8's original release, I would have definitely ranked this track higher. You know, I definitely would have said this is like a highlight of this game, and that is true. But there's just so much more competition now that this one just falls too good. And this is a really good, solid track. Yeah, I mean, lining up the boosters on the waterfall is nice. Like, going down the other waterfall is cool, but that just really just turns into a straightaway. And so, like, I don't know. The theming's cool. The track is good. That's what I would say. The track is good. The theming's alright. And so you put that together, you got a good track. And so, yeah, this one's good, this one's fun, but it just doesn't really feel like, you know, it's like a top tier Mario track or anything, which is why it's here. You know, I guess it's cool to get more Shy Guy representation. We're getting Shy Guy Bazaar back in Mario Kart World too, so, you know, for all you Shy Guy fans out there, that's, you know, that's pretty cool. But, yeah, I like this about the music actually, is that like, the music changes like when you're going near Shy Guys working. Like you have like the Shy Guy noises. That's something that's really cool. It's not the only track that's in. I know it's in Wario's Gold Mine too, and I think there's one other maybe. But Wild Woods. I think Wild Woods has that too, maybe. But yeah, this one's solid. But that's just it. It's just solid. All right, here we go. SNES Mario Circuit 3. It's funny because this is on as an SNES track, but because I barely played the SNES, I played it like once or twice and hated it and then shut it off. I associate this track way more with Mario Kart Wii, especially because this just feels like the Wii version imported, basically. This one's fun. I still don't love the 180. It doesn't really feel like the best. It feels better done in this one than in Wii, because in Wii I would always crash. Like, I just didn't feel like a turn that was really fully possible. And it still feels like that a little bit with Mario Kart 8, but maybe it's just the engine is better where it's not as bad. I don't know. But, so yeah, this is a fun one. This is a cool one. Really, what holds it back the most... See, this is the thing. It's not that theming's not important. It's that the racetrack is way more important. The theming's just kind of bland, and the music, it feels kind of like classic music to me because of Mario Kart Wii, but it's just, this track is a good track, and that's solely because of the racetrack, because this track really has nothing else to offer. See, if you ask me, the best tracks combine both well. And this is a rare, I don't know if it's a rare example, but, because there's more to talk about, board. The racetrack is way better than the theme, because the theme doesn't really have that much, you know, what's the theme? Basicness? Mario? But the track is, you know, it's actually pretty decent, which is, you know, why it's here, so. Alright, Sherbert Land from Mario Kart Double Dash. This is one that really has grown on me, and this one I think is both because you can avoid the ice parts, and because I've grown better as a player. Because as a kid, I really did not like this track at all. Because this was one I was always worried about when I was going for like the first place in like the All Cup tour. Because, you know, I would ram into like the icicle things a lot as a kid, and those, you know, you're frozen in them for like 5 seconds and then you lose all your momentum. So like I was really bad to get hit by one of those. It's not nearly as bad in 8 again, which again I don't think is entirely bad, because I'm not really a fan of going from first to last, like in, you know, just like that. You know, I think it should take multiple screw ups for that to happen. But yeah, you know, so in Double Dash as a kid, this track would have been way lower. But you know what? I enjoy this track now. It's fun. I actually really like the turns when you're in the ice cavern. I really like kind of like just threading that needle, being like right next to the wall. They just feel really satisfying, actually. And so yeah, I avoid, you know, because of that, I avoid the icicles for the most part. I usually go underwater for the second half of the lap. And, you know, that's an interesting too, because you have to avoid obstacles and stuff. I don't know. This is a good track. I enjoy Sherbert Land now, which as a kid I didn't think I ever would. But but yeah, no, this is, for me, this is a enjoyable track that I like. Alright, next up is Moo Moo Meadows. This track is just so chill. This is like the chillest track ever. It's just like, oh, I want to play a chill, relaxing track. I'm gonna go play Moo Moo Meadows, because the music is just so great and calm, and like the cows are super cute. They're just like, I'm just a cow. I'm just walking. You know, like, don't mind me, please. You know, I'm just have to go walk in here. And so, yeah, I do like this track, and like this track is just like lightly entertaining. And you know, having to drive through the cows in like the final lap is a little tricky sometimes. So, but the turns are engaging enough. I really, like I said, I like the theme and the music on this one a lot. And so, yeah, this is just, to me, this is just a really solid track. I don't know if this is a hot take or not, that I actually like Moo Moo Meadows. But, yeah, no, this is one where the track is fun, and, like, all the ancillary stuff is really nice, too. So, yeah, this is a good, solid track. I can't put it any higher. This is kind of like my guilty pleasure track, I guess, is Moo Moo Meadows. But I obviously can't get higher because there are a lot of better tracks than this. But, yeah, Moo Moo Meadows, it's just fun, man. I don't know. Alright, next up is Peach Gardens. I'm very hit or miss on this track. It has segments I like. I like a lot of the turns at the beginning of this track. I'm very meh on the open field with chain chomps. They're really not that hard to avoid. And I think they got rid of, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't they get rid of in this track what was in Wii, where you have to like follow the chain chomps to get the item boxes? Did they get rid of that? I think they did. Which that makes it less, you know, that just makes the open sections just less fun. But I like a lot of this track outside of that field part. I like a lot of what's going on here. And I really enjoy actually going backwards. Like I talk about Paris Promenade, it's really cool to kind of flip this track on its head and just say, okay, you're going backwards now. Right? Like, you know, go that way, you know, make a U-turn. I think that's really cool, and it's a really cool way to just shift perspective on this kind of track and just make you rethink everything. This is a really solid track. It's pretty good. I like a lot of what's here, but like obviously, you know, there's just a lot better, and so that's why it's just been good. Alright, almost done with this tier. Next up, Rosalina's Ice World from Mario Kart 7. This is a fun one. Obviously, it's here. Look at where it is. Yeah, this is a fun one that's solid. I like the music. I will say I like this track more when Mario Kart 7, but that's just a personal thing. Like, it's not just like I like this track more in Mario Kart 7. No, it's like they did a great job bringing this one over, because it's basically like a one-to-one recreation of Mario Kart 7. Like, they didn't really change anything. So yeah, but this track it's good, it's fun, I like the music, but that's just kind of it. Like, my opinion doesn't really go any higher than that. You know, the long winding turn at the beginning is alright. The underwater section is fine. And, you know, I like the last part of the track the most. And so, yeah, like, this one's good, this one's fun, but there are a lot of tracks better than it, so. Alright, and at the top of this tier, DS Mario Circuit. This one, I'm not gonna lie to you, I completely forgot about this track. Not when I'm recording this video, but when this was announced for the Booster Course Pass, I was like, I don't remember anything about this track from Mario Kart DS. Like, you know, this one did not leave a lasting impression on me. And I think it's just, like I talk about with the theming is just kind of really basic. You know, for a lot of the Mario tracks, you ask me what the best Mario Circuit is, I'm going with Mario Kart 7. I really like all the pink leaves, and I really like, you know, going through Peach's castle, you know, for that one little turn. But obviously we got Mario Kart DS instead, so Mario Circuit DS. This is fun though, you know, right? Like, even though it didn't really leave a lasting impression on me, you know, I guess design-wise, you know, theming-wise, the turns in this one are actually really solid. This is a pretty fun track, so that's why it's here. Again, I don't think it's top tier. Obviously, it's still in good, but this is a track that actually really caught me off guard. I did not expect it to be good. I wasn't sure what I was expecting because again, I completely forgot about this track existing. But yeah, no, it turns out this track is actually, it's a good time. It's pretty fun. Alright, now we are getting to Good Plus. We are, that's next year. Good Plus. So, kind of like what I said with Good Minus, where it's in between meh and good. This is in between good and great. So these are tracks that I feel like are better than the tracks in the previous tier, but I can't really go so far as to say like they're great tracks. Like they're really good tracks, but in my opinion, they're not going that far. So in between good and great. And so yeah, let's get on with it. Let's get on with it. All right, first up is Sky High Sundae. I think opinions are mixed on this one, I believe. I know there are people who don't like it. I think this track is just fun to race on. You could talk about the aesthetics all you want. I think that rail thing, kind of the physics of that is really weird, but I just think this track is fun. Like, just the actual racing part of this track is really fun. And I also really like ice cream, so that goes in its favor too. But I like all the bright colors, and this track is fun to race on, and it makes me feel good because I like ice cream and I like bright colors. So yeah, this one's pretty fun. I really like this one. Yeah, I'm sorry I don't have more to say on some of these, but there's just so many to get through, All right, next up, Mario Kart Wii Rainbow Road. This one might be a hot take. I don't know. Part of this for me is definitely Rainbow Road burnout. Like, I like Rainbow Road. Do we really need another Rainbow Road to cap off the Booster Course Pass, though? I really do not think we needed another one. There's enough Rainbow Roads. We don't need more. And also, so part of it is definitely that, but also another part of it is I would not have chosen this one. If you're going to do a Rainbow Road and you said, okay, I'm going to add another Rainbow Road to Mario Kart 8, the end of the Booster Pass, I would not have done Wii. I would have done GameCube. To me, Double Dash's Rainbow Road is better than this one, and it feels like that Rainbow Road just goes really underappreciated in general. Like, there's a lot of praise for this one, and there's not a lot of love for that one, and I don't really know why. That Rainbow Road is really good, and I like it better than Mario Kart Wii's Rainbow Road. So, that's definitely part of it. It's just kind of like disappointing, like, okay, like, I get it, but like, do we really need this? The answer is no. But this is still a good track, so putting all that aside, let me talk about what I like about Wii Rainbow Road. It's pretty fun. I mean, it's challenging. I definitely found this track really challenging as a kid. And so, that part of it is really nice because at the end of the day, Rainbow Road is supposed to be the final track of the game. Like, it's supposed to be the final boss almost, right? And as much as I enjoy Mario Kart 64's Rainbow Road, the fact that the only way you could fall off is through the chain chomp just kind of ruins that. It just feels like you're kind of just looking at stars. But I still really like that one. But so having a challenging Rainbow Road, and this one's not easy, is really cool. So yeah, I'm not the big fan of the whole wavy thing, that some tracks like to do. I'm very meh on that. I'm also very meh on that part with the center. Basically, like, the middle of this track, I'm not really that big a fan of. In case you couldn't tell already. Yeah, like, the wavy part is eh, and then the part with, like, the donuts is also eh, because unless you have, like, a mushroom, you're not really gonna go on those, and you're not really gonna go on the trick ramp things either, because they're slower than just like driving. So that part's just like, okay, I'm just driving through here now, but like once you exit that donut section, this track becomes really good again. And so I really like everything from this track after that point. So I guess that's the second half. I really like the second half of this track a lot, but first half leaves a little bit to desire. But yeah, this is a really solid, really good track, and that's why it's here. Even though, I personally, I would have put GameCube's Rainbow Road in this game over this one. I don't know, it's probably not on tour. That's probably why they went with this one instead. But that's, you know, you're asking me what would I have done. That's what I would have done. Next up is Daisy Circuit from Wii. And there's actually something that really annoys me about this track, which is the remix. I think the remix is far inferior from Mario Wii. In fact, I know myself, I'm gonna make the point. The song you're listening to in the background right now, that's the Mario Kart Wii version. Because the Mario Kart 8 version, it replaces the piano with flute. And listen, nothing against the flutists, the flute players. You know, it's not like I dislike that instrument or anything. I just think the sound of, you know, especially because it's supposed to be a Daisy track, and I'm not a big Daisy fan, but her one track is really because of this. It's because of Double Dash and Hi, I'm Daisy. Hearing that whenever the CPU passed me, that just turned me off. But like Daisy's one character trait is being annoying. I mean, you can't really, Daisy fans, you can't really deny me on that. That's her one thing that she has going on in any game, is that she's loud and annoying. And so I feel like doing a quieter remix for a Daisy Kart, for a Daisy track, just doesn't really work. Like, why? So if anything, you have to make them more loud and more annoying. So yeah, I don't really like the song that much at all. It's like I listened to it like for the first 2 seconds and it's like it's gonna be good, and then hear the flute and it's just like, oh wait, no, this is just far inferior. So yeah, but this track's actually pretty fun. Well, you know, when you get over that part of it, yeah, this track is pretty fun. Again, you have that part with the 2 statues that's kind of just like that just doesn't really feel like there's a ton to do unless you take the shortcut. But once you get past that section, the track becomes really, really good. And so, this track has a lot of nice, fun, engaging turns. I like the orangeness of the track. It feels very wholesome. I don't know, this is just a really fun, solid track to race on that deserves to have a better remix than it does. Oh boy, here we go with more tour tracks. Vancouver Velocity is pretty good. And these are the reasons why these are here. It's because I don't need to watch videos of them. I don't need to watch videos of this one. I remember this one. This one's solid. This one's pretty good. And this is what I mean by the tour tracks. Like, they caught me off guard with how good some of them were. You know, if you ask me in the Booster Course Pass 1, like where, if you were to, give me expectations on like where I thought they would be good, I thought the most you would get out of these tour tracks was good minus. And no, it turns out some of them are actually really good. This is a really solid one. I really like the ice rink part. I really like the anti-grab part. Like, a lot of the turns of this one are just really, really fun. And so this is a good track. It's a pretty good track. Pretty fun time. It's really fun. And actually, I'll just group in Athens Dash. That's the next one. Same sort of thing, man. These tracks, they're fun. They just have a lot of fun turns, a lot of fun aspects to them. They are just really good tracks, and it caught me off guard. But it's like when they get picked, it's like, okay, this is like a fun track. Like, actually, like, wow, like I'm surprised. They still surprise me at how fun they are. Because of that expectations I had from Tokyo and Paris Promenade. So yeah, that's like, these two are actually like these are like, wow, Nintendo, like you actually made like 2 pretty fun tracks. From that Athens, obviously you have like the whole statue thing and like how that Coliseum almost area, like that stands out the most to me about that. In Vancouver, you have the hockey arena, but you have some cool anti-grab parts. Like I think it's in like lap 2, so yeah, like these tracks are they're pretty fun. Alright, Squeaky Clean Sprint. This one is pretty good. Yeah, this one's pretty fun. I still think the theme's definitely better than the track on this one, but the track is good. Like, you know, it's not like some of the others where the theme is great and the track is like, okay. No, the track on this one is good. The track on this one is solid, and the theme on this one is pretty good. So that's, you know, you put those together, you get a good plus rating. And so, yeah, this one's fun. I like the journey through various cleaning supplies. I think it has a cool shortcut at the end, right? Like if you get the high lane. Yeah, this one is fun. It's just fun to race on. I guess the really only part is, again, there's another pretty open section where there's not a lot to do until you get past the open section. I didn't realize how much I really disliked open sections until I started talking about them like this. And also the water just doesn't really add that much. But I get what they were going for. It's on theme here. A lot of the turns in this one are pretty fun. So yeah, Squeaky Clean Sprint. It's a squeaky good time. Alright. This is on me. This is my bad, again, for separating out these tracks. Bangkok Rush. I have like the exact same thing to say about Vancouver and Athens as I do about this one. So that's my fault. The memorable part about this one, this is the one I'm pretty sure with the, where you're like bouncing off of like the tents at the end. I'm pretty sure that's this one. Yeah, this one's fun. Like literally, it just feels like everything I had to say about those other two tour tracks apply to here. It's fun, and it is cool, the turning paths in all of these, like the changing paths in the tour tracks. When done well, like it is done well with a lot of these tracks, it's fun because they managed to make each segment feel fun and unique, and I really like that. It sort of like saves surprises, like it lets them have like a big surprise at like the end of the third lap, you know, which is cool. So yeah, these tracks are pretty fun actually, and that really caught me off guard. But yeah. All right, next up is Rock Mountain from Mario Kart 7. Obviously, given that game a lot of praise already. But this one's fun. Again, it's just the theming is cooler than the track. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, but this track kind of just gets dragged down at the end. This is the track where the first part is really good. It's really cool, but it just feels like it kind of slows down. Like once you get past that ramp and you're in the air, you're just kind of just waiting to land a little bit. This is kind of what it feels like, and then you go down, and then you immediately get on another glider section. And so I get what they were going for, but I think gameplay-wise, the glider sections don't really do that much. We'll see if that changes in Mario Kart World, where they're doing, obviously they're bringing back the plane from Diddy Kong Racing back. So maybe you actually have like more control over where you're going, and then that might be actually more fun, because the glider, it feels like you have a little bit of control, but only so much. It feels like you're still going in the general direction. You can only move it a little bit, which is why having two long glider sections is kind of lame. But I really like everything else about this track. The beginning is great. The ending is great. You know, this was anti-grav before we had an anti-grav when you're going up the side of the wall, and just didn't question it. But that's totally fine. You know, again, you don't really need an anti-grav. Anti-grav doesn't really add that much to the game, unfortunately. So you could just do what Rock Mountain did. You could have anti-grav without having anti-grav. Obviously, I'm pretty sure they made that an anti-grav section in this one, but in Mario Kart 7 there wasn't an anti-grav section, so... but yeah, no, this one's a fun one that just unfortunately gets dragged down by glider sections. Alright, next up, GBA Snow Land. I know I talked about a lot of the GBA and SNES tracks being basic, and this one, yeah, it's still a little basic. No, it's still kind of basic. I mean, the snow theme is nice. I really like the song from this one, actually. You know, I think it has a really like fun beat. I was going to start singing it, but I don't want to do that because I'll mess it up with the background noise. Or humming it, I guess, but you know, I'll still mess up with the background song. I'd have to sync it, and I would hate myself. in the future for doing that, so I'm not going to do that. But yeah, this one's just cheery. Again, it's another short and sweet track where, you know, puts you in for a good time and then spits you out pretty fast. I really like the turns on this one. The turns in this one are super fun. I like that the items at some point you have to like go out of your way to reach them because they're in like a line like skating across, and you have to like go, you know, plan that out in your planning also, because Mario Kart is a lot about planning. You know, what I found is Mario Kart is a lot about planning and like micro decisions, and like do I sacrifice the inside lane a little bit to get the double item or not? Like, it sounds goofy, but those are actual like decisions I make all the time playing Mario Kart. And so I like this track for encouraging those decisions a little bit more with some stuff like that. The turns are pretty fun. I don't really have a problem with the ice physics, you know, like the ice mechanics. I've gotten just used to it, I guess. This one's pretty fun to play on. I like this one quite a bit. Alright, next up is Wild Woods, and you want to talk about a fall off. I mean, I know I never did a ranking of tracks from like Mario Kart 8. I know my YouTube channel didn't exist then, but I'm telling you, as someone who played the game then, this would have been in great. This would have been in the tier above, at least when the DLC first came out. This was a track I looked at as like, wow, this is going to be a really good track, and it was good, and then I was like, wow, this is a really good track, and it's good. I'm not going to say it's not good. It's in good plus for a reason. I'm not going to say that it's not a good, solid, fun track. What I am going to say, listen, I sound like a broken record, but I don't care. You know, you're watching this video for my Mario Kart opinions. I'm going to say the theme is better than the track. The theme is amazing. I love climbing up the tree. I love, climbing up the tree, going through the village, going down through the lake. It's great. The track is not as fun. The slide, where you're going down the water is a worse version of the ending of Koopa Cape. The lily pad section is really, they have another glider section. I'm just now realizing, talking about this, how much I don't love glider sections, like when they're not just like super short. So, I guess I apologize, for liking No, I don't apologize for liking Mario Kart 7. I still really like Mario Kart 7. But, I see the glider, I guess, hate now. I don't know if there is glider hate, but, I can sort of see that, how it slows things down. I don't know, man. This track is fun, but again, the theming takes precedent over the actual, racetrack. And I feel like this one really shows with this track. So, fun, really great theme. Track is not as fun as other tracks in this game. So, that's why it's here. Alright, tick tock clock. Tick tock, tick tock. This one is one that has grown on me as the game came out. If this one was a Booster Course Pass title, this one would definitely be lower. But playing this track more online and whatnot has endeared me to, hey, this track's actually fun. First off, this is one of the best levels in Mario 64. Just pointing it out there. This is a really fun one. And yeah, this track is fun. Again, the wide open section, man. I'm talking about how much I don't like the wide open section. It's still true here. I mean, I know you have shortcut possibilities with the hands in the middle, but the wide open section just isn't that fun. But then I really like the sections after that, where you have those turns and you have to watch out for the pendulum. Like, again, it's all about micro decisions and micro adjustments to sort of put yourself in a position where you're not getting hit by the pendulum. And so I like that. The section, I actually don't go for the glider in that section. It's not just because I'm just finding out I don't really love the glider. I think it might be faster. I'm not sure which one's faster, but I think it might be faster to not take the glider, because then you could get all the boosts from the trick shots. If you time your tricks of the clocks better, I think that might be faster. So that's what I've always done. And so, yeah, it's also more fun and more engaging because you have to adjust your control stick. You have to adjust your direction for where the clock's going. But, yeah, so this is a pretty solid track. I like this track. Now, here's a track that I know people have some vitriol for. Neo Bowser City is actually kind of fun. I mean, it can be kind of frustrating at the same time. First off, this track is one of the reasons why I don't play on 200cc. And I mean, listen, to each your own. You know, any judgment I pass upon you by saying that 200cc is trash does not reflect on you as a person. You know, you can do whatever the hell you want, and I don't really care. But 200cc is trash. The game was not built for 200cc. I don't understand the people who say it is. The game was clearly not built for 200cc. The tracks were not designed for 200cc. I think the fact that you have to brake for like 50% of the turns on 200cc should tell you, hey, the game was not built to go this fast. And Neo Bowser City is a prime example. These turns suck on 200cc. They suck. Like, there's just no other way around it. They're bad. And they're not even the best at 150, but I also kind of like the challenge. But also, what I really like, this is one of those tracks where when I'm having a bad day, and I mean like a bad racing day, although that could correlate with having just a shitty day sometimes too, this track is really bad because I just like fall off a lot at the end. But at the same time, when I'm doing well on this track, there's such a level of satisfaction when I hit those 3 long, tricky turns in a row. Like, I'm being serious. There is a real satisfaction for me when I just absolutely nail that section that I really like. And so that's why it's here. And like when you look outside of those turns, I enjoy a lot of the turns in this track as well. So again, this is really a challenging track that when I'm on feels great and feels super satisfying. And this, you know, and when I'm not on and I'm messing up all over the place, that I'm just like cursing out, like, screw you, Neo Bowser City. But you know, that level of satisfaction is why it made it sway all the way up here. Alright, next up, Waluigi Stadium from Double Dash. This is a fun one, and yeah, I mean, this one's fun. I'm trying to think of more to say on it than that. I think Double Dash is still probably the best version of this track, especially because of like the crowd noises. Like, if you don't know, you never played Double Dash, when you mess up on this track, you get hit by like an item or something, or you get hit by one of the fireballs, the crowd goes like, oh, at you, and it's like really goofy, but I kind of love it. Yeah, this track, it's fun. You've probably seen this coming, like the big open section. I mean, this is probably the best way to do a kind of big open section, is because it doesn't really feel like a big open section, because you gotta move to the right to avoid the first Piranha plant, then you gotta move to the left to avoid the second, then you gotta move to the right again. I'm pretty sure I have that order right too. And so like that makes it way more engaging. So yeah, and a lot of the turns in this track are pretty fun. I think one thing though is this game sort of propels you more at a faster speed than Mario Kart Wii. And this game was in Mario Kart Wii too, so the tricks felt more cool, felt more show-off-y in Mario Kart Wii. When in this one it's just kind of boom 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 trick, and that's it. And when Mario Kart Wii is boom 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 trick, boop. And you know, like there's just more level of satisfaction there. But yeah, no, this is still a fun track. Double Dash, solid game. Alright, we're going back-to-back Double Dash tracks here with DK Mountain next. This one is fun. I understand why they didn't keep it, especially because they got rid of the 2-player kart component. But I still think it is really funny. Having the characters like hold on for dear life, like you know, in GameCube, the character in the back will like hold on for dear life while like cannons, while they're being launched out of the cannon, they'll make like a bunch of like crazy noises, like oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, get me down, you know, obviously, but you know, within like Mario noises. And so that's like really funny, and that's something that I miss. Although I will say one thing, you know, it also builds suspense for when you're going down, but I'll say this track does it right in Mario Kart 8, which is that if you're not going to have that, just get me there. right? Like, if you're not gonna have that, you're not gonna have that suspense, and you know, like, just get me to the top as soon as possible, so I'm not just kind of sitting here. And that's something this track and DK Mountain, whatever, the DK Skiing Resort one, I don't fully remember. That's something that they do much better in Mario Kart 8, which is they're basically saying, like, I feel like you have to either go either way. You have to either commit to the goofiness of having the characters make noises when they get out of the cannon, which they don't do in Mario Kart 8, but they did in Wii and GameCube, or you just launch them up right there, so you're not waiting. And they go for the latter, you know, which is good. I'm glad they at least recognize that okay, we're not going to have these noises, let's just put them up right there. And so that's great. The one problem I really have with this track, and this is a problem maybe with GameCube Rainbow Road being in this game, is the last like 2 turns are really, really sharp and they're really, really tight. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I still have trouble with those turns when I didn't really have, you know, I mean, I guess I did have trouble with it as a kid, but I was able to sort of figure it out and adjust and figure out when to start my turn to be fine. And I just really have trouble with that in 8 Deluxe. Like, I feel like I'm starting my turns at a good way, and I try to readjust where I start them, but I still have trouble and I still bonk a lot. So maybe it's just me, maybe it's just a skill issue, but I just feel like those turns were better suited for GameCube, and that maybe they should loosen them a little bit so they're not nearly as tight. But I don't know, maybe that might just be me. Like, you know, I'm sure I'll get comments saying skill issue if enough people watch this to give it comments, but yeah, that's just kind of me. This track is still pretty fun. It's an all-time classic. Yeah, this one's pretty fun. Alright, it's time to give Mario Kart 7 more love, because here we are again with Piranha Plant Slide. This one's pretty good. This is another good blend of theme and track. Because I like the theme. The theme is simple, but it works. You're just going like to an underground like water pipe facility thing, like that. It really, you know, it's simple, but it gets the job done. And then the turns on this track are actually pretty fun. You know, you're not hanging around that long before you have to, you know, big turn incoming, turn. Like, a lot of the turns are really engaging and really fun on this track. And there is definitely, again, like a level of satisfaction of just nailing all these turns. And so, yeah, this one's really fun. I like the theming, I like the music, I like the track. This is a really solid track in general. And yeah, Mario Kart 7, man. Turns out it's a pretty good game. So, yeah, that's really, you know, this is a really good one. Alright, we just talked about one DK track, I guess, you know, with Piranha Plant Slide in the middle, but now we're talking about another one, 3DS DK Jungle Mario Kart 7 again. I was debating in my head, is this one better than DK Jungle? I think the turns are more fun than DK Jungle on this one, but I think DK Jungle has like the better theme and like the better song and everything like that. So whatever, they're about even. That one's fine. Yeah, this one has a lot of turns. I mean, this was in Special Cup, I believe. This was like, this was Special Cup. It was DK Jungle, Rosalina's Ice World, Bowser's Castle, Rainbow Road. And that's also one of the best Bowser's Castles, by the way. You know, you wanted to bring back retro Bowser's Castles, but yeah, this one's solid. I like the turns. I don't really know who those guys are that you're dodging like early on in this track, but a lot of the turns are fun and they're engaging. I don't really love the giant turn around the banana. That's like the weakest part for me. But yeah, no, this is a solid track. That's a good time. I like tracks, as you can see, that sort of test my skill and that are really fun to like race on. So you know, they're really fun to like when you're nailing all those turns, right? Because there's a level of satisfaction there. So yeah, this is a really good track. I dig it. Alright, next up, Electrodrome. Star Cup tends to be pretty good in Mario Kart games, and Electrodrome, I'm having trouble saying it. Maybe it's just because I'm speaking for so long. There are a lot of tracks in this game, okay? There's a lot of them. You know, when I do a Mario Kart World tier list, which I'm sure I will try to do at some point, there'll be much less. But Electrodrome from Mario Kart 8 Star Cup, let me see. Sunshine Airport, Dolphin Shoals, Electrodrome, Mount Wario. I believe that was the order. Electrodrome is pretty good. This is a really good track. Again, another good balance of theming and racetrack. And the theming, I really like something, you know, talking about sound changing over track. I really, really like that when you get into the split path portion, how the music changes. And, you know, like, that's a really, really neat touch. And I like that turn at the end, you know, where you're like turning over like the music notes or whatever they're supposed to be. Like, that's really cool. This is a really cool track. That's really just what it comes down to. This is a really neat track. It was really fun with a lot of fun turns. Again, the weakest part, in case you really couldn't tell, glider section, but that doesn't take that long. But also the big open area at the beginning. That first turn when you get off the glider, really great. And then you have that other glider, you know, that nice turn when you're going on the wall, that's great. And then you're just kind of waiting for the split paths. But after you get into split paths, it becomes really good again. So yeah, this is a really good track. It's really fun. You know what's crazy about all the love I'm giving from Mario Kart 7 in this video? I don't even think they have like Mario Kart 7's best track in the booster pass. You know, you know, the world is not ready for Wario Shipyard in Mario Kart World if you haven't played Mario Kart 7. But also, when are we getting Woohoo Island and Maku Wahoo back? Those tracks are so good. I hope we get them back. And the reason I'm talking about Mario Kart 7 again is we're talking about Music Park. And yeah, this track is really good. This is another really good balance of a good track, good theme. The turns in this are a lot of fun. I really like the theming of this. I really like everything being instrument. It's so cool. The piano and I think the xylophone playing stuff when you get on them. That's really neat. If you've noticed one thing, if you've been paying attention, you can probably tell what I don't like, the thing I like the least that keeps it in this tier from the others. There's two. And it's the same two complaints. It's the long turn at the beginning. Cool idea. Doesn't need to be as long. It's just kind of waiting around. And then, of course, the open section. I don't really care about the open section as much. They're trying to make it more interesting by having you time to the beat. And like that section of it is pretty cool. But I feel like I'm just waiting for the beat. I'm just holding a button and just waiting for the metronome. Bum, bum, bum. You know, which also, I mean, they made it easier. You know, than 7. You didn't have like the drum, you know, clocking you in on when to be ready. So you just had to like, just, you know, pay attention, use a metronome, whatever. But yeah, no, this track is pretty fun. Most of the turns in it are good. This is a pretty solid one. Mario Kart 7, man, it's a pretty good game. Next up is Animal Crossing. Again, good theme, good track. The one complaint I have with Animal Crossing, why don't they let you select the seasons? Why don't you select like which one you have to play? I understand like 4 online, you know, but like when you're, you know, like 4 online and 4 random, I get that it just does one. But if you're playing versus mode, you should be able to select what season you want. You know, there was one time where we were playing Mario Kart and I was telling my friend, hey, I think winter is the best version of, you know, the Animal Crossing track, which is still true, by the way. I still think winter is the best. But then we had to go play it, and we had to, you know, win versus mode and like played it. We believe this was online actually, so we just like went into like a private room and we're playing the Animal Crossing track. And when we were, you know, doing that, we had to play Animal Crossing like 6 times to get winter, because it just, of course, refused to show up, and you can't select which theme you want, and that's really lame. So I mean, they already have the 4 icons for it. It would be nice if you could just select which one you wanted. You know, like select which one or random, right? You know, like that's the only thing that really stinks about this one. But otherwise, this is a great track. Nice, cozy vibes. Turns are overall, you know, pretty good. They're pretty fun, and it's, you know, short and sweet again. But that's not entirely a bad thing. This one is just a really pleasant, fun, good track to race on, and so yeah, that's why I see. I also really like, by the way, shout out to the end credit music of this track. I really like the end credit music of this track, and so yeah, it's just kind of chill. Like, oh, we're just here to chill out. You know, forget all the craziness that may have happened. From, you know, you just finishing the race. You know, you just got blue shelled. Someone passed you at the last second. Oh, let's just, you know, let's just calm down. Let's just chill out. I really like it. Yeah, this is a pretty good track. All right, next up is Choco Mountain from Mario Kart 64. You may be surprised that it's here because it does have a long winding turn, but I actually like this long winding turn quite a bit because this is a real thread the needle one. Because you have to thread the needle of not falling off and, you know, not getting hit by the boulder too. So yeah, I really enjoy this, and I also really like the difference between like this and like Thwomp Ruins and Water Park is that I really like all the turns that are not that too. So like this is just a really fun track to play in general. Again, another short and sweet, absolutely nothing wrong with that. And so yeah, this is a fun track. I like this track. I also like how goofy the music is. Like, you know, like those things matter. It's not like they don't matter. They just don't matter as much as a track being important. So yeah, Choco Mountain. This is a fun track. I enjoy this track quite a bit. But yeah, probably the long winding turn is what's keeping it from being higher. But still fun. Still fun. Still a good time. Alright, next up is Sunshine Airport. This one is weird because of the music. Because I feel like I beat the music a lot of the time with this track, you know, because this is a track where, like, the music is very intended to, like, play. Like, this part's supposed to play when you're here, this part's supposed to play when you're here. Well, I feel like in, like, 150, I'm, like, ahead of the music a lot of the time. I don't know, I just play too much Mario Kart. But this one's pretty fun. Good theme. Good turns, but again, I think the turns do take a slight sacrifice for the theme. Going into the air, you know, that part is cool, but it's just one turn. But that turn, again, that turn feels really satisfying, I will say that. Like, getting on the inside lane and just riding it the whole way and threading that needle is fun. But yeah, and then like you have a glider section, and then like that final stretch is just fine. Like, I don't know. This is a fun track. I really like this track up until the glider section, and then it just becomes worse. So yeah, this one's solid. It's pretty good. I like the music. I like the theme. But it's just there are better tracks, which is why it's just at Good Plus. Alright, next up is Toad Harbor. This one is solid. This is a good track. I enjoyed this track a bit. Like I said, the anti-grav wall section, I kind of have to forget that exists when racing on this track because it's slower. Again, think of the circumference of a circle. You know, so yeah, but this track is fun. I really like darting in between the wall and the train cars, you know, on that long turn. That feels really satisfying. And a lot of the turns on this are pretty good. Yeah, this is a pretty solid track, and that's why it's here. Again, I guess you could get rid of the long winding turn, and I would prefer it more. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's that long, and threading that needle is really fun. But I don't know. Like, this is a track that's fun. It's good. That's really solid. But for whatever reason, I just don't really feel like it's not the track I have the most fun on. And maybe if I even can't fully pinpoint the reason why. I mean, it's good though. So I don't know. It's a really fun track. It's a track that I find for myself gravitating towards the music, like when it starts getting warmer outside. It's like, yay, it's getting warmer. That actually happened to me recently. And so, yeah, like this is just it's a good, fun track, but it's not gonna be like the best in any Mario Kart game. But you need tracks like these too. So yeah, this is good. Alright, lastly in this tier, we're getting there, I promise you, we are getting there. Thank you for watching this far. Mute City, baby! Mute City, this track is fun. This feels like, unfortunately, the closest we'll ever get to an F-Zero game. Like, this track, by the way, can I just point out, how do we have an F-Zero track? You know, you have Captain Falcon's car, you have a Captain Falcon Mii costume, I guess it's because of the Amiibo, but still, but Captain Falcon isn't playable? Like, this just feels like the ultimate snub. Like, you literally have everything but Captain Falcon in Mario Kart 8 DLC, which is just really, really weird. So, yeah. Like, this is really weird, but this track is really fun. I really love, like, the speed, like, the go, 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 go. You know, the music's blaring. You're trying to hit, like, every speed boost possible, trying to nail every turn. This track is really, really fun. This is, you know, it's such a good time. This feels like the closest we'll ever get to, like, a high-speed chaser in, like, Mario Kart, right? Like, where it's just, like, you know, balls to the walls, pedal to the metal. You gotta go, you gotta hit everything. You know, there's no slowing down. Slowing down is for wimps. This track is just really fun. For sure. This is one of those tracks, though, I will say, where when I'm not on, it's probably why it's ranked here, when I'm not on this track, it's not nearly as fun because I'm not, like, hitting everything. Like, this is one of the most satisfying tracks when you're on and when you're racing well. Because when you're racing well, you're hitting everything, you're hitting every speed boost, you're hitting every turn, like, you're hitting all those anti-grav things that give you speed boost, like, you're just killing it. You're killing the game, but, like, when you're not doing well, it's really tough to get into that kind of rhythm, and then the track becomes much less fun because you're having trouble getting into that rhythm and finding that groove where you're hitting everything. But overall, this is a pretty good track. This is pretty fun. Alright, so next up we have the tier that's great tracks, and I subtitled it with, you know, like parentheses, basically, easy picks online. And so basically what I mean by that is if I see a track that is in this tier paired with two other tracks of lower tier, right, you know, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Online, it gives you 3 tracks in random as a choice to pick from. You know, and so if I see a track from this tier and tracks from 2 below, I'm going to pick this track basically every time. You know, really the only reason I won't is just, you know, moods change for the day, but also just maybe we played on this track already. I'll pick something else, but in general, give me this track and 2 tracks of tier below, and I'm picking a track from this tier every single time. Oh boy, do I know this one is going to be controversial. But if you've been paying attention, you really should not be surprised at what I'm about to say. Mount Wario, honestly, I could see it being in good plus, not even in this tier. Those last 2 tracks I just talked about, what were they? Mute City and Toad Harbor, I just went back and checked. To me, they have a real argument to be at the lower end of this tier, and, like, to me, they really blend close with this one. I really gave it the benefit of the doubt because of how popular this track is. Listen, I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna say it. This might be the last time I'll say it in this video. Maybe, we'll see. But this is gonna be, you know, the biggest example of what I'm about to say. The racetrack is more important than the theme. Because, yes, I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it one last time. Maybe, I don't think I'm going to be saying this again in this video, but I guess you never know. The theme is better than the track. And I don't know if that's controversial. It probably is. The theme of this one is great. I've been skiing before. The theme of this one is really fun. But what section of the racetrack is really good here? Like, genuine, I'm asking you, I'm asking the audience, because I'm sure if this gets enough attention, I will have Mount Wario defenders in my comment section. Like, please answer that for me. Like, what part of the actual racetrack is really, really good. You have, and here's in my opinion, the beginning is solid. You know, like the first lap is solid. That's probably the best lap. The best lap is probably the first lap. The second lap, you have a glider section I've talked about already. Not enjoying that glider section. And like sort of that section where you're running on water. You know, you're either in a glider section or you're just going straight. So you're just kind of avoiding stuff, just waiting to, you know, you're not really doing anything. And then you have that nice little two-turn section where you're in that building, and then you're out and you're in a wide open section where you're just going straight, just trying to catch speed boost. That's not really that great. And then you have the tree section, and the tree section, you know, isn't that great either. Right? Like, you know, you have turns and, you know, like that section before you get into the bunch of trees with the split paths. I enjoy that section, but when you get to the trees, and they're all just kind of in your way, you're just turning around trees. Like, it's not really the most engaging turn. I mean, the turn itself is alright, but you're just trying to avoid trees. It's not really that engaging. And then the first part of the third lap is good. I like turning in between the skiing wickets. That part is fun. But really, moguls on, it's not really that impressive to me. The moguls, again, are just mashing the trick button. And then the glider section, and then one last turn to end it. So, yeah, I'll say it again. You know, you want to come at me in the comments, go at me. But the theme is better than the track. The track has some good moments. Like I said, lap 1 and the beginning of lap 3. Those are both solid sections. But that's like half the track then that I don't really like that much. So the theming is really great, but the theming took priority over the track with this course, and I think that really hurt it. Because the racetrack is not as fun because they went all in on the theme. And yeah, this is a pretty good track. But I would not go as far as saying it's one of the best tracks in the game. Alright, now, keep in mind, I know people are going to have this in the back of their mind. The Mount Wario defenders are going to say, you think this track is better than Mount Wario? Yes, this is my opinion. This is my tier list. So, yes, I think all these tracks are better than Mount Wario. Next up, Superbell Subway. I like this track quite a bit. This is a pretty good one. I really like the song too, actually. The song is good. The theme is good. I really like dodging the subways. Like, I really like going in like the inside lane and you know, getting close to the off-road and dodging the subways. And so, yeah, this is a really fun one. I think this is a really fun and engaging track where, you know, you have to constantly like shift sides of the track to get the inside lane, and you have to like dodge subways along, you know, cars along the way. This is a really fun one. I never go up top. I think they're slower. You know, the impression I've gotten from when I've gone there is that they're just not as fast. And so, yeah. But this is a fun track that I enjoy playing on quite a bit. The turns in this are really fun. The music is great. The theme is great. This is a really good track. Alright, next up, what I believe is the best underwater track in the game, and I believe, I don't think there's one above it. Dolphin Shoals! Dolphin Shoals is a really fun track, and the ending is definitely the best part of it. Yeah, the open section in the middle, fine, but the ending, you know, hits so hard. I love that section where you come out and the saxophone's blaring, and, you know, going around that turn, and then, you know, you have like those final couple turns that feel really satisfying of just trying to pass someone, right? Like, I have some really fun moments where I'm like on the person's tail, like coming out of that section, and like I'm trying to pass them, I'm trying to make a move, and, you know, like, there's just, that ending section is great. It's really, really good. I really like what they did with the music in this section of having the damper sounds from most of the lap, and then you come out, and then for the final lap it's just all sax. They're like, we're taking away the dampness. It's just go, 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 go. yeah, this track is really fun. I like a lot of the turns in here. This is a really fun track. This is a really good one. Yeah, okay. I could deal without the eel, but overall, this is a really fun track. It's basically cap end, by a really good beginning and a really good end, and then a fine middle. Music really does a lot for this track. I will say that. All right, next up, we're going from surfing, in the ocean to surfing in a toy room. I'm talking about Ribbon Road, baby. This one's pretty fun. This is one of those tracks where I really feel like when I'm not having a good day, that really sucks. But this is a really good one, really satisfying. I really like a lot of the turns in this one. This one is really good, really fun. And yeah, this is a really satisfying course to play when I have it all right. And this is another one, as you'll see with a lot of these tracks. Listen, man, when the adrenaline gets going, when I'm in that final section trying to make a push, and you have that music going on in the background pushing me on, and the blue ribbon, it's really, really fun. Like, the turns are engaging, and this is what I talk about with risk reward. Is you have to think a lot with this one. Do I go for the trick, even though I know I'm not really going to be able to turn while I'm doing that, so that may affect my turn? Or do I just, let it happen and let it go by? That's another aspect of it that's really cool. The shortcuts in this one are good, but they're just tough to take, except for really the last one. So, yeah, this feels like a very skillful track that really rewards you for having that skill. And the theme and the music is great too. So yeah, this is a really good track. I really like Ribbon Road. Next up, Ninja Hideaway. This one is pretty good. I do think it sacrifices a little bit of the track for the theme. Don't get mad at me. But this is still a really good track. It's still in this tier. I just feel like sometimes it's a little too chaotic, especially with the whole raising and lowering of that platform thing, because sometimes it feels like if you miss the cycle, you just get fucked, right? If you go up top on lap 2 and 3 and you're up there, you could just get kind of screwed up with that cycle, and it's just not really through any fault of your own. The game just says no, and that's just kind of really shitty. It could put you in a really annoying spot. So yeah, that's really the one thing I don't like about this track. But this track is fun. A lot of the turns are really fun. I guess, glider section, but nah, that's not really that bad here. And yeah, a lot of the turns really are fun. They're tight, so they're really fun and satisfying to do. The shortcut is achievable but fun. A lot of the turns are really fun and engaging, and I love the music. The music is really great. It just kind of urges you on. It feels like you're going through a ninja house. This is just a really, really good track. I really like this one. Alright, next up we have a classic, Koopa Cape. Koopa Cape is really fun. I really like Koopa Cape. Yeah, I don't really know, I guess, what you call theming, I guess a water park or river, but the turns on this one are really fun, and the music is great. I really like the Koopa Cape song. Yeah, this one, again, it's just, when you're hitting these turns, you have the music behind you, this is just so fun. That's my favorite part about Mario Kart, and that's what you will see with all these tracks, is just, just that satisfaction of just completely nailing every turn and just coming in first and leaving everyone in the dust, with the music behind you. That's my favorite part of Mario Kart, and that's what you will see from a lot of these tracks. And so, yeah, Koopa Cape, it's great. So much fun. The turns are really, really great. And so, yeah, this is a really good Mario Kart Wii. Slightly overrated, but they did have some really, really good tracks. And the theme is solid here too. Music goes a long way again in this one. Koopa Cape, it's pretty fun. Here we go. One of the better courses to ever come out of a Mushroom Cup, Mushroom Gorge. Yeah, Mario Kart Wii has some good tracks. Mushroom Gorge is pretty fun. And this is one where I don't feel like the theme really gets in the way that much. I know kind of you know, you might look at it and say, but open section at the end, but it's not really an open section. You gotta commit to a way, and like your angle matters a lot, because if you choose a bad angle, the mushrooms will really like make you pay for having a bad angle. So you gotta line everything up correctly and everything like that. You know, gotta get your timings right on the tricks. This is a really fun and engaging course. I you know, like this course quite a bit. It's a classic. How can you not like Mushroom Gorge? Alright, here's one of 2 tracks in this tier that have the exact same song. I'm talking about DS Wario Stadium. Kind of similar vibe as the GameCube Waluigi Stadium. I guess that was probably on purpose. This one is pretty fun. This again, same thing I was just talking about with Koopa Cape. This is one where when you're on and you're nailing all these turns, this is just, it's so much fun. And so that's what I really like about this. The turns are really fun. They're really engaging. That part actually feels satisfying with the part where you're landing on the speed boost, unlike like the lily pad in Wild Woods, because there's more precision here. You gotta like line yourself up right? You gotta move the stick while you're on the ramp to be able to reach the next one, and it's punishing if you don't get it. So I really enjoy that part. A lot of the turns are really, you know, like in order to get them down perfect, you have to be like pretty precise, which, you know, makes me feel great when I just absolutely nail all of them. So yeah, this is just one where you have to be super precise and, you know, to really do the best on this track. And I really like that because, you know, I like being rewarded for being good at Mario Kart. And so that is why I really like this track. This track is really fun. Alright, here we are, the final Mario Kart Tour track of this tier list. We have Sydney Sprint. This one is really good. This one is really, really fun. It really, everything I've been talking about in this tier just applies to this. I'm starting to feel like a broken record. This one is really fun when you just nail all those turns, especially in lap 2, where you have those like tighter turns. You know, again with the different elevation. This track is just so much fun. I really enjoy tracks that have a lot of these tighter turns that I could just take perfectly with the music blaring, making me feel great in the background. This track is really, really fun. And again, I like the different 3-parter ones here. I think it makes it really engaging to have different parts of the track to race through. Sydney Sprint, man, this is really good. This really, really caught me off guard when it came out, because this was the course past like the second wave, I'm pretty sure. And so when I came out and played this, and this was actually like super fun, I was like, wait, this track is like fun? Like, these tracks are gonna be good? Turns out this one was the best one, but yeah, this track is really, really good, really, really fun, and so I like it quite a bit. I am starting to sound like a broken record. I'm saying the exact same things in this tier, but they're all put in this tier for a reason, and a lot of them I like for the same reason. Shroom Ridge is what we're talking about next, and yeah, I'm not gonna even like go in that much with this one, because it's mostly just saying the same things I just said about Koopa Cape and Sydney Sprint. This one feels so good, and you know, when you're racing well, when you're doing well, the precision that is needed to race between all the cars is really fun to me. And so I like taking tight turns. I like taking tight turns, and, you know, watching out for the cars and everything like that. I really, really like Shroom Ridge. This is a really fun one. The one problem with the traffic being here is when I'm not having a good day, when I'm not racing well that day, I will not want to play Shroom Ridge because I will just be messing everything up. But this is one of my favorite tracks when I am doing well, because it just feels so amazing to just nail all these turns, skirt, you know, the lines between all these cars and everything like that. It's so much fun. I really like Shroom Ridge. Here we go, another iconic course from Mario Kart Wii, Coconut Mall. I'm glad they tried to save it by making the cars actually spin out. It would have been very lame if they didn't. But yeah, getting screwed over by those cars with the knees, very real thing that happened to me a bunch in Mario Kart Wii. So yeah, that section is still less than, which is unfortunate. But this is just an all-time classic. I mean, how could you not like Coconut Mall? I know people don't like this one as much as the original, and I would agree with them. I would probably go Mario Kart Wii is the best one, then Mario Kart 7, then this one. But a downgrade of a, you know, top-tier Mario Kart track is still a really good track. So Coconut Mall, man, the turns in this are so fun. The theme is so fun. The music is so iconic at this point. You know, it's really, really hard not to love this track. And that's just what it comes right down to. Alright, SNES Bowser's Castle 3. They did a hell of a job updating this one. This one is so well done. I actually don't really recognize it from the Mario Kart Wii. Again, I think about this one through Mario Kart Wii. But I can sort of see it. It's like I have to really think about that Mario Kart Wii version to be able to see, okay, that's this turn here, that's this turn here. They did a hell of a job, like really updating and revamping it, and it really paid off. This one is so much fun. This is one of the best theme tracks in this game. I mean, I guess it's here for a reason, but yeah, this one is so much fun. The theme on this thing nailed it. The turns still feel super good and satisfying. This is, I know it's like a revamp of a retro track, but this version of Bowser's Castle 3 has to go into consideration for one of the best Bowser's Castles in Mario Kart. This is just so well done. It's absolutely great. All the props in the world to Nintendo for how they redid this track. This is a prime example of how you take an old track that was boring from the SNES and the Game Boy and you know, you make it more interesting. I mean, I didn't hate it in Mario Kart Wii, but this probably would have gone either a good or a good minus. If I was just doing a Mario Kart Wii, it would have definitely gone in one of those two tiers. And instead, here I am talking about it as one of the best Bowser's Castles in Mario Kart. They did a phenomenal job. I was blown away when I first played this track, how different it was and how much better it was than the Mario Kart Wii version. So all the props in the world to them for how they handled this track. All right, we are in the home stretch now. I believe, what is it? 12 left to go. We are so close. I am almost free from this. Alright, next up, Big Blue. Another F-Zero track. This one is so damn good. I mean, all of these tracks, if they're here, they're really good. This one is really fun. I guess sort of what separates it from Mute City is it feels more dynamic than Mute City. Mute City is just speed boost, 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 speed boost. But the turns, there's like one long turn at the end, like the turns aren't really super engaging, it's just more so about speed boost, speed boost, speed boost. This one manages to thread that needle so well. Yeah, the open section at the end, little anticlimactic, but everything else is so good that, yeah, this one's really good. And actually they've managed, you still have to do a turn in the open section, so, you know, there's at least that. But yeah, this one is just so good. It still has everything about speed and just go, 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 but with a lot more dynamic turns, with a lot more, you know, really good turns. Yeah, so yeah, this one is really good. I really like Big Blue. This is definitely a top tier Mario Kart track. 11 more to go. We are in Banjo City with Wario's Gold Mine now. This track I found really hard as a kid actually, but it's really fun now, and definitely part of it is that the mine carts went from having to avoid at all costs to, hey, like you can spin off them now. But yeah, this is a really fun track. And so, you know, a lot of the turns are really satisfying, really good. I really like the banjo music. Like, this is really good track. You know, I really like the theme of going into the mine and going in and out. Yeah, turns are really fun, engaging, dynamic. The music is great. The theme is great. This is a really good Mario Kart track. We are in the top 10 N64 Rainbow Road. This track is so good, so much fun. Mario Kart 64 was my first Mario Kart game. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it was my first. And so I have a lot of nostalgia for this one, even though, you know, very mixed on the Rainbow Road. But yeah, this one was done so well. Again, this is another way of how you revamp a great track. It would be nice to have the option to do this as 3 full laps, because that was part of the Mario Kart 64. Was 1 lap was really long, and then you had to do 2 more. But so yeah, like being able to do that without mods or without just clicking like retry like would be great. But you know, just having the option to do that would be nice. But this one, it is really good. The turns on this are really fun, really satisfying. The music is great. They just did a wonderful job with this track. I could give a lot of praise with this track. They handled it so well, and major props to them. Because this track is really, it's super fun to play. Alright, DK Summit. DK Summit is a really fun Mario Kart track. Here we go. Mario Kart Wii again. The problem with DK Summit is it relies a lot on the trick ramps, which are just slower. Unfortunately, it's just slower to take them than to take the normal things. I don't know if they brought this thing back. I saw it in Mario Kart Wii Track Speedrun once, that you can kind of like bob in and out of the rails. I don't know if you can still do that, but you know, if you can, that's probably the best thing to do. But if not, like that's the unfortunate part, is this is slower, but this track is still really fun. Most of the turns are all just really fun, and just having a track of going down a ski mountain, this is done better. This is done so much better than Wario Mountain, whatever it's called. I've been doing this for way too long today. Whatever, the Wario skiing one. This is just done so much better. You know why? The turns are better. The turns are so much more fun in this one than in that course. You know, I don't even really take the trick ramps, but the turns are just so much more fun in this one than in the other one. The music's great. The music's better in here. This is really Wario Mountain, whatever it's called. Hold on, let me look now. Oh, Mount Wario. Okay, so I was close. Mount Wario is, we have DK Summit at home. I'm sure that's a hot take. I don't care. You know, DK Summit is so much better than Mount Wario. It's just so much more fun. And you know what? It doesn't sacrifice a fun track for the theme like Mount Wario does. Yoshi's Island, so damn good. This track is so much fun. I love the music. I love the finish line music. But you know what? Again, talking about theming and sacrificing theming for a fun racetrack, this does not do that at all. In fact, I don't even really know how it's Yoshi's Island related, aside from the fact that it just looks like Yoshi's Island. Right? It has like the aesthetic, just the feel of Yoshi's Island. But that's it. But this track is so much fun. I guess you have like the Shy Guys and stilts from Yoshi's Island, but still, the turns on this track, so much fun, so satisfying, such a good time. The music is great. You know, this is just a top tier Mario Kart track. You know, this is how you do a track with a theme right here. Is you have the theme be there, but you don't put anything into for the you know, for the theme to that sacrifices the racetrack, because this is a theme track that is one of the most fun just race tracks we have ever seen in a Mario Kart game. This track is so much fun, and yeah, the finish line ending being the finish from the original Yoshi's Island is great. I could gush about this track for a while. This track is so much fun. Finally, at the top of this tier, Waluigi Pinball. Yeah, this track is really good. This is one of those tracks where like everyone gives it praise and it's deserved. Actually, I think this track is actually worse than Mario Kart 7 and Mario Kart DS. You know why? You know something that bothers me with this in Mario Kart 8? They don't have the calculating noises. I guess because Mario Kart DS and Mario Kart 7 are single player experiences. So and in Mario Kart 8 with split screen, you know, you could have those noises go off a bunch. But I really like that when you go past the bumpers, you know, and you're on the last turn in Mario Kart DS and Mario Kart 7, you have like the pinball calculating noises, like it's calculating your score. So good, so much fun. And yeah, open section, I get it, but it feels so much different because you have the pinballs bouncing around that you actually have to watch out. Like you have to be like, oh crap, like this might come after me, like, you know, everything like that. Like Waluigi pinball, yeah man, it's great. It really does deserve a lot of the hype it gets, because this is such a fun track. Yeah, again, perfect blend of theme and fun racetrack, because the turns in this one are so much fun and it doesn't sacrifice that for the theme. So yeah, there you go. Alright, final tier. I just called it favorites, but really they could belong at the top of that last tier. You know, they're kind of just like the same. First up, you know, top 5, by the way. Here we go, top 5. Ready? Let's go. Maple Treeway is one of the best tracks in Mario Kart history. I do not know if that is a hot take or not, but frankly, I do not care. Maple Treeway is amazing. Again, perfect blend of theme and track. I know open area, you know, you're probably gonna get on me for saying that when I've criticized open areas so much. This one, again, I feel like it's a little different because there's still something to pay attention to. You're not just driving straight, you're driving straight and walking, you know, going around Wiggler, which, by the way, is absolutely hilarious that with the DLC you can be in a Wiggler, you be playing as Wiggler in a Wiggler cart driving around Wigglers. That's just hilarious. But yeah, no, like this track is just so much fun. The turns on this one are so much fun. And I really, you know what the best part about this track is? The best part is the end. I know glider section, you know, I can hear that. But I really do think the best part of this track, seriously, like, is from the Wigglers on. You know, you have some great turns there where you have to try to navigate the speed boost, really tight turns, go through the trees, out into the glider, and then you're back at the beginning. But even in the beginning, I know open section, but it has multiple paths you can go through. There's still stuff you can engage with. Maple Treeway is one of my favorite Mario Kart tracks ever made, and with good reason. It is just so much fun. Does it really surprise you with how much I have praised Mario Kart 7 in this video? Does it really surprise any of you that the best Rainbow Road is the Rainbow Road from Mario Kart 7? It just is. This is the best Rainbow Road, guys. This is peak Rainbow Road. I mean, I would love for Mario Kart World to be able to beat this, but we'll see. But this Rainbow Road is just unbelievable. Just what more could you want? It's a journey through space guided by a Rainbow Road. And yes, I know I may get some of the criticism. You said Mario Kart 8 Rainbow Road, it's like a tech station, doesn't really feel like Rainbow Road, and this one goes on a moon. Well, yeah, I don't know. The moon still feels like Rainbow Road to me. The planets still feel like Rainbow Road to me. It feels like Rainbow Road's guiding you through this, and it feels more like celestial. Like Rainbow Road has always felt like very spacey, and the space station just feels too artificial. When in this one, you're just going through the wonders of space. It is so good. It is so much fun. Also, how many of you have remembered that this was actually a stage in Smash Bros? Because it was on the 3DS, so most of you probably forgot that until I just reminded it to you. But yeah, Rainbow Road on the 3DS, so much fun. They remixed Mario Kart 64 for the song. I mean, the Rainbow Road from Mario Kart 64, which obviously, you know, I hold in high regard already. So yeah, this track, this is the best Rainbow Road. This is top tier Mario Kart. I don't know what else you want me to say. This track is just so damn good, so fun, so engaging. They have a lot of really different cool sections, with a lot of really fun turns in here too. This is top tier Mario Kart. It might surprise you to find out that a Game Boy track is this high. I mean, if you've been doing some calculating in your head, what are you missing? What are you missing? Cheese Land. Man, this track is just so good. It is so much fun. I mean, this is a track where when I'm not on, it can be a little tough with the craters and everything. But oh my god, Cheese Land. So much fun. I love this course so much. It's just, listen, when you have that saxophone in your ear and you are killing and you are nailing and you are hitting every turn, this is one of the most satisfying things I've ever experienced in a video game. I don't care. Cheese Land. I know it sounds goofy. I really don't care. Cheese Land. So much fun. And also, I should say, by the way, these top 5, they're just so close. You could rearrange this order in any way you want. This is just kind of the order that just called to me. But Cheese Land, man, it's very cheesy and it's very amazing. Like, I don't know what else there is to say. It's just, I could talk about it, but really, a lot of the stuff I have to say about Cheese Land I've said with previous tracks already. It just feels so satisfying, so much fun. I love the risk reward of the craters. Like I said, where you have to make sure you're positioned correctly so that when you land, you have to be able to just immediately get into your turn without going into the off-road. The theming is just so goofy. I love it. This is one of the best songs you ever heard in a Mario Kart game. So good. Cheese Land. Just, I also love cheese. So, in real life. So, that definitely helps, I guess. It doesn't really help, but it's just a fun add-on. Top 2 now. Yoshi Circuit on the GameCube is one of my favorite Mario Kart tracks ever made. This track is so much fun. Again, is there anything special about it? Well, the map is shaped like a Yoshi. That's a pretty neat feature. Is there anything special on it other than that? The music is great. Okay, is there anything special other than that? No. But the turns are so much fun. This is one of my favorite tracks to race on. This is what I'm talking about throughout this whole video. How fun is the track to race on? That's the most important question. Yoshi Circuit is one of the most fun tracks to race on in any Mario Kart game. The turns are so satisfying, killing every turn, going from a left turn to a right turn to a left turn to a right turn immediately, and just having the precision to absolutely nail them all down while the music is just absolutely great and giving me a rush. This is just so much fun. This is one of the best tracks in Mario Kart history. It's just so unbelievably satisfying and unbelievably thrilling, unbelievably fun when everything is going well on this track. I love it. It's just so much fun. It's one of the most satisfying things I've ever experienced in a video game. It's just when I'm absolutely murdering this track and just leaving everybody in the dust and just completely nailing every turn and just feeling like a god. It's just so much fun. Here's the problem. Everything I just said about Yoshi Circuit also applies to my number 1. Again, lightly ordered, so especially with these top 5, you could arrange them in any order I want, but when I did this, I decided to put Royal Raceway as number 1. Well, actually, I think these top 5 is all actually done by the order they appeared in. I don't think I rearranged this tier at all, actually, but I don't care. Royal Raceway is so damn good. It's just really because of everything I just said in Yoshi Circuit. The turns are great. The music is great. I love the rose petals in this one. It's too bad you can't go into Explore Peach's Castle at all, but how great would it have been if they brought this one back for Mario Kart World and you actually could. Like this track is just one of the most satisfying tracks to race on. It's just turn, 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 turn. It's not easy. It's tough to perfectly nail, but I enjoy it quite for that moment. I love coming off the glider and just hitting that perfect left, then hitting that perfect right, then hitting that perfect left, then hitting that perfect right, then hitting that perfect left again. And if you play this track enough, you can visualize exactly what I'm talking about. And like, it's just so much fun. This is just one of my favorite, just in the zone tracks where I'm just killing it with every turn. And it's just so much fun, so much satisfaction. I love to race on Royal Raceway. That's it. I hope it provided enough talking for you. I certainly did. I just really need to get up after all this. I spent a long time today doing this, so 3 hours. But yeah, those are my opinions on all the tracks on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with the Booster Pass. I tried to provide insight into every track, but I also didn't want to stay too long. Could you imagine if I did like an in-depth analysis on every track? This video was already 3 hours long. So just for everybody's sake, I just tried to provide a little bit of insight into every track and not spend too much time on it. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you, as always, for all the support if you are watching this video. And so, yeah, look at this graph, and that's it. I need to get up now. I just spent, what, like 2.5 hours just sitting here doing this. It's kind of crazy. More, actually. I know I did more because I had time cut out of watching videos and everything like that. Whatever. I have to get up now. It's time. Thank you all for watching. I'm Alec, and this has been awesome. And Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has been awesome, actually. This has been a great game. So much fun. A lot of hours spent into Mario Kart 8, mostly the Wii U version, because I didn't get the Switch version until they announced the Booster Course Pass. But yeah, this game, so much fun, so much joy, so much laughter, and it's something that I hope continues into Mario Kart World. So thank you, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm Alec, and this has been awesome. Peace out.